that shouldn't be tend to work to obstruct and censor and voices like ours. So it's no problem. Some of the censoring you said that you experienced and not been able to get the message widespread, but everything I do is obviously based on, first of all, what my spirit tells me to do, what I'm led to do, and also obviously my health and scheduling. So first of all, thank you for the invitation. And I'm not sure how much you want out there, but I want to let you know I extend condolences for um, your family situation and the passing to the other realms of your mother. I believe is that correct? So I wanted to first acknowledge that.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate that. I know I had connected with you a while ago, and then I lost my mother back in December, and that just kind of threw everything in a monkey wrench. So thank you. I definitely appreciate that, Vicky.
Yes, and please know I've done three special webinars specifically on my ancestors webinar. I want to get into the details of that, but it's a supernatural webinar that has literally changed lives. And one of the things we must know is that you must know is that because of her passing, and I've recently experienced passing of my paternal grandmother recently. Just know that your spiritual cord has absolutely upgraded because of that transition. So anyway, just wanted to first acknowledge that before moving forward. In terms of how long I've been in media, I mean, I've got to say because of my view on what media is, which is about broadcasting, the ability to push a narrative, get a particular message out. And my goal is always to get us, those of us that are alternative, independent Black media, the Black grassroots, away from a singular notion of what media is. It's not just cable television. It's not just what we consider to be mainstream TV and radio, podcasts. We include in that obviously multimedia, internet, social media, but also any place where a message can be broadcast. I always say that some of the most impactful media voices were the pastors and preachers of the day. The church was one of the main spots to broadcast our message. And then later, of course, certain Black businesses like some of our barbershops and salons and so forth. So I want us to understand that this notion of broadcasting is not just a linear thing. So in terms of me, I would say most of my life, and the reason I say that is because it's not possible to have Vicki, understand Vicki, receive Vicki without my spiritual life inextricably connected to my social political commentary. Because as a girl, I had a few astral dream type premonitions and prophecies, but also an actual messenger that spirit sent to my home in the presence of my, specifically in my family. My mother and grandmother were present in the kitchen when I received a prophetic word about my impact in the nations. And this was, I was raised in a Baptist church, and so particular Baptist church and denomination we were part of did believe in the woman not only not preaching, but when she speaks in the church, she could not mount the pulpit when she gives the announcement. Y'all know what they think about that. She needed to do it, at just a regular podium. So this was not this was not something that I saw images of the woman's voice being amplified like that. And I wasn't raised with cable or any of those sorts of things. We had few channels. I don't know if y'all know about the turn, what we call it, the TVs, the turn, you turn the knobs. The old school black and white for a long, long time. So, but it was just a spiritual thing. How it was brought to me that I would have an impact. So, one of the most notable things that I did when I was in school, and I like to share this because it is important. It is not small, and I'm saying this for those of you that might be listening because I want you to begin to connect the dots in your own life as well as if you're a parent, how you can groom your child in their particular destiny, their unique destiny. And that is, I was writing movies as a child. One it was called Off Drugs, and my mother was working for the city at the time, and she would bring me some of the leftover And so, because I told her I was writing a movie, so she supported my movie. And then she says, "Well, I think not only that, I think that you should write the mayor." And I'm a young girl, a child, elementary school at this time. She said, "I think you should write the mayor. Tell the mayor you write a movie." So I wrote the mayor, and the mayor wrote me back. And that particular, congratulated me on my movie. That particular situation planted a particular seed in me that as a elementary age child, that what came out of my head, my voice, my scripts, my desires were worthy of government leaders. And she normalized that. And sometime around that time, I would imagine, or thereafter, when I was 11 years old, my school had a competition, and so I entered this particular competition for the Vicki Show. Literally, that was the name of the Vicki Show. The Vicki Show has been around since I've been 11 years old. I'm 40 years of age, so that's at least 33 years. 34 years. So anyway, I used my voice as a child and teenager in plays and other such things. My mother really did that. I was a very quiet student. It was one of my elementary teachers that saw a gift in me, because she forced me to stand before the class to act like I was a weather woman. And she was so fascinated with the way I did that, the role play, because I was the quietest student. I actually got an award, believe it or not, for the quietest student in the class. She was so fascinated by my animation and capturing her. She went and got another teacher from another class and said, watch her. And so at that point, I was put in plays, and my mother was put me in plays and stuff. And it was just from there, I just went on, and I used my voice throughout school, and to be honest, in my home, to speak truth. And some of the old folks would tell me, your mouth gonna get you in trouble. And I knew I was powerful then. And that perhaps was the best way to tell a child whose voice was powerful, because I was an obedient child. I wasn't talking back to anybody. I wasn't speaking like I wasn't supposed to, but my power as a child and what I said, it mattered. And it wasn't regular. It changed the atmosphere. And I would say at that time, I knew, first of all, I knew media would be a part of it, and I was using my voice in school for justice, in my home for justice, and by extension, church. And as one of my siblings told me, she said, "Girl, you've been an activist." That was years ago. You've been an activist since before you knew what an activist was. So I distinct those as I would say about 16, 17, 18 years ago is when in the teen years, some time ago, maybe about 14, 15 years ago, I had briefly a show on a Christian network here in Colorado called the Steam Broadcasting Network, and then I had a 15-minute show on one of their more popular gospel channels here. They got a little mad. And then from Mason, the Jesus chit chat, the Bible with politics. So the site manager at the time rebuked me and told me that because his owner was white, the owner owned a bunch of stations, not just in Colorado, but throughout other states. And he told me I was threatening his job and a bunch of other stuff. And so ultimately, I ended up leaving. So after time dealing with the unjust criminal suit, and before that, civil cases, and a lot of ship shaping I was doing in the social political spaces, I was making the news with, just really on my own, because when I would show up to places, stuff would happen. And the media was there, they covered me. And do some of the exposing I did with some powerful people. That in itself had an impact. And then after serving almost 4 years in a federal prison in Texas, and then another 6 months in a form of incarceration when they shipped me back to Colorado, obviously that was meant to be a stain on me. And this notion of how would Vicki do what she was born to do, how would that be? So when I was sick, I've been diagnosed with a serious autoimmune illness. I won't get into the details of that. Some pretty close calls affected other parts of my body, other organs. So I'm blessed to be here today, and I'm still overcoming some things, though I'm getting better. body shot up with what's known as biologics, with medicine that's intravenously put in you, prescription steroids. That's why some of you may not even recognize me from some of my images a few years ago, because it was the steroid that made my body totally different. I wondered how those things could be, and so lo and behold, an invitation to be on a particular network. They said I was just on the email list actually, and so they sent an email saying they were looking for new contributors. We went through a process, and here we are.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about next. The actual Fly Nubian platform. Could you just kind of explain to those who may have never heard about exactly what Fly Nubian is, and exactly the actual services that you guys provide as well, if you don't mind?
Not at all. Fly Nubian Queen is with Dr. Boris Watkins. One of his, he has several different platforms, different spaces. Fly Nubian Queen, basically I consider the other networks associated with Fly Nubian Queen as sort of the sister networks. So I started with Fly Nubian Queen on the Facebook page first, which was quite large, and the following was large at that particular time. They had a whole lot of different types of contributors, very powerful sisters, and I was just glad to be in the building. I started there, and then from there I became the second voice that they used to basically revive their Fly Nubian on YouTube. So I was basically the second person that they brought on again to renew Fly Nubian Queen on YouTube, while I was simultaneously using my content there. And then I started going 5 days a week on Fly Nubian Queen. We started to make some real impact with some different people and places and spaces, and so my message was not only there, I was there live, but they ended up using some of my other content and replayed it on other platforms as well. And while I was there, I ended up connecting with my brother Phil Scott, and he brought me on to his network. So I give contributions to African Diaspora News Channel, which you mentioned earlier, and of course my own now, Vicki Dillard.tv. And to be frank, for most of last year, I was actually disconnected from Fly Nubian Queen and made that announcement that I was no longer with the network. And so over the past month or so now, I've been back, not 5 days a week because of my health, but I am giving regular contributions. For some of the inquiry minds that want to know, I'll just say this: I'm thankful to be back with family. And one of the things we as a people who experience warfare and understand the nature of our open enemy, when you can come back together, when you can reconcile, and it's for the benefit of the good of all parties involved, where there's reconciliation possible under the best conditions, I think that's something to applaud. So I'm pleased to be recently back in Fly Nubian Queen, and you'll likely see some of my other contributions on some of the other sister networks from time to time, and I'm still on African Diaspora News Channel, of course, my own platforms on social media.
Now, when I think about Fly Nubian, I always think about you first and foremost. At first, I thought you actually owned it when I first for the.
Everybody says that. No, I was one of several other beautiful, phenomenal other contributors. So I get that all the time, which is why I always like to clear that up. But I certainly consider them to be family. So yeah, we're definitely family.
Now, I know you have Vicki Dillard TV, and I believe you have something like 32,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. How is that growing? Is that growing at a pretty quick rate for you?
I was so excited. I'm so proud of me because I really gave little attention to independently growing my brand. So basically, the time that I was away from Fly Nubian and some of the other sister networks is when I started to actually give attention to my own in a serious way. And again, even then, I wasn't going live every day. I just did it for my health. There are certain holistic procedures I have to do. I'm in and out of town live. That really restricted a lot of my time. So now it's just about scheduling. So yes, I was so excited because I jumped a few, I don't know, maybe 15, 20,000 people, maybe more. I think it actually
Now, I know a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, we had Michael Eric Dyson and you had Lamont Hill. Pretty much, they were complaining and pretty much belly aching about the that this new black media kind of was still in their thunder. They took a shot at Jason Black and they took a shot at a few other people. Now, everybody considers you as one of the queens of the new black media. What was your opinion on that when you heard them, kind of dissing the new black media's presence and how they were kind of stealing their thunder and making them irrelevant to a certain degree?
You know, first of all, thank you for your kind words and respect for my work. I'm really, really good about standing with other people, advocating for other people, and being on code, even indirectly, because I see our power in our unified Black voice. It doesn't mean we have to agree on everything, but it's about being on code with what matters. You understand the foundational, the pillar type situation. So I want to first of all say thank you. In terms of those two, I was one of the, I believe, one of the main ones in our space to break that news. That I started. I think I did it first on Instagram. Back in I got a couple of Facebook pages, and sometimes I put stuff on Twitter too. With my new, I not really new, but fairly since last year, my new TikTok at I am Vicki Dillard. So I forget which one I put it on first, but for sure Instagram I put it on there. And so with they're a little irrelevant, the griot, and I say that because they are. And they push all kinds of agenda with that so-called black publication, the griot. And of course, we are correct and right to ignore and yawn and not know when they got something coming out. So I say that because they disrespected me, blocked me a long, long time ago, and a bunch of other stuff. And I've learned they obviously block some other black voices as well. But anyway, I happened to see something pop up on the page. I looked at it. I said, wait, let me look at this mess. Normally, this is something I would just skip past. And, I suffered by listening to the entire, I don't know, I think it was under 15 minutes. I don't remember the exact timing of it. And I said, no, they didn't. But it was absolutely normal, foreseeable, predictable how they felt about us. But they said the quiet thing out loud. And so certainly I had to clip that and start talking about it. Thank God other black media voices started to cover it. What I think about that is there's a spiritual scripture, an axiom that says, not many wise men after the flesh, not many noble, but God, the divine, uses the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And that is simply to say that sometimes the agenda of the creator will not choose those who have the most degrees. They're not those that are typically accepted within the established systems, those that are professorial and that are professors that have doctorate degrees and that can properly pronounce the diacritical mark in the dictionary. Sometimes some of you subject verb Negroes, as I call you, which is good to be educated, that's important. But sometimes your degrees can be, if they're not properly used and directed, sometimes your degrees can be a direct picture of just how indoctrinated and controlled and programmed you are by our open image. And that's how I see those two. For a number of reasons, which is too long to get into, but Dr. Mark Lamonte Hill, I busted him lying about, his, something he lied to folks, I think, in the Nation of Islam about his support for Minister Farrakhan, and I called him in a Twitter feed, called him the anti-Semitic. He tried to do some little slick stuff with that, and then y'all know how he acted on some other, issues, him crying about the injustice of Bill Cosby being released from prison, and just so many other disgusting things. And I know we don't have much more time here because I got to do some medical stuff shortly, but I want to say this is connected to our topic, which is Black women in media. Again, with my expansive definition of media, whether it's news, whether it's books, whether it's lectures, you understand, or whether it's social media, whether it's mainstream, cable, whatever, your places of worship, your social gatherings, these are all forms of media. And I've talked about this for years. I don't care if you're doing political parties in your home, and now Zoom parties. Whether you say, hey, let's watch the Vicki show. Somebody that don't know who I am, don't try to explain who I am. Just tell them you're having a share when you like, you put us in a better position to be the counter voice to the oppressive classes media apparatus. So we all have a hand in what we're doing. When you ask someone appropriately around the water school on your break, do you know who Vicki Dillard is? And they say they don't. You say, I want the Vicki show. What? In the same way, they would look at you like because you didn't know who the network MSNBC or who Rachel Maddow is or somebody like that. You need to look at them like that. You don't know what? You don't know who Vicki? And then that's on us to feed our voices. But I just wanted to say that. But back to Mark Lamonte. He discussed me some years ago when he disrespected our sister, the great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, and an LGBT gay writer or somebody before our sister was even married, dogged Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, and basically, and I'm saying this in a nutshell, basically said, good riddance. This person said this publicly, and your Dr. Mark Lamonte Hill agreed. And our sister wasn't even married yet. So when they say, you know, they believe in academics, they believe in people getting degrees. No, you don't. Because our sister was our scholar warrior. And she debated what the whites, our open enemies, considered to be some of their best minds. And she put them to shame. I use her as an example of the power of Black women in media. And she was alienated by the Dr. Mark Lamont Hill Tyson, the Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. And of course, they're not really comparable at all. But her contemporaries that preceded them, she had, you know, but they didn't like how she knew. They didn't like her revolutionary teaching. And they didn't like how it confronted and exposed our openings to understand. And so she didn't just use the knowledge that she got from some of their schools and some of her Black teachers, but her actual patients, let's say, were white people. And she was a physician, you understand. So I consider them to be tools of white supremacy, obviously. I consider them to be sellouts. I consider them to be enemies of Black society. And I thank God that they said the quiet part out loud, because it is not in how many degrees and how many awards and pads and badges that they give you the measure of their education. It's its effect on our lives. And clearly they have no proof and nothing to show for that. So I keep saying the power of this piece is coming from the ground up, because we are the media. We are the apparatus by which we're going to broadcast our narrative, our own agenda, bypassing the middleman, you understand? And this is important. So
thank you, Vicki. Thank you. I know you're pressed for time as well too. Do you have time for one more quick question?
yes, sir.
Okay, Ray, I know you had your hand up. Did you want to ask Vicki something real quick?
Yeah, I'll be very brief. Just wanted to let the sister know that I'm a long-time fan. Just let her know it's an honor to speak to her. And I saw that she was going to be in Therese in the movie American Maroon. I was just wondering if she's going to have any more movies that she's going to be in.
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for your support. And yes, dear brother, I'm so pleased and excited to be featured in our brother Therese American Maroon movie that's coming up here this month, in fact, the release. So yes, and I did do some filming for another movie as well that's supposed to be another documentary film, I should say, another documentary film that's connected to Dr. Boyce and a partner of his, and this was a year or something ago. So that information is going to be coming out soon, which I am so excited about. So yeah, stay tuned. Of course, I'll be posting that here on my Twitter space here in due course, but as well as my Instagram page of Vicki Dillard, and I would imagine also on some of the other platforms I'm on, I'll be able to plug that there. So stay tuned, beloved.
Okay. DJ, she has to she's gonna only be here for 30 minutes. So if you can make it real quick, because she's got to get ready to step out.
No, how you doing, Ms. Dillard? Hey, I just want to say I posted your website in the Jumbotron, so everybody get in the Jumbotron, get down there in the chat and support our sister. How you doing?
Thank you so much, beloved. That means so very much. And thank you. All of you that are listening, whoever you are, if you're listening now or later, just know from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you, the work that you're doing. And though our assignments are different, beloved, please do not take it for granted that everything that you do, when you're engaging, when you're sharing, when you're talking about it, when you are more importantly being about the things that you hear us say, you are making a major difference in what we're doing. And you are seeing our impact, you're seeing our talking points, you are seeing, beloved, that we have come, our time has come. I'm going to keep saying this, we're in our finest hour. We're absolutely in our finest hour. And you're making some of the tragedies we have to discuss, some of the difficulties, some of the, so much bloodshed. Let me tell you something. Some people say, they said, Vicki, what about this one? They said this a long time ago, and I was recently reminded of this, and I was screaming so hard. They said, well, you start your broadcast, you come out smiling real nice. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Thank you about mocking me, making fun of me. And you come out so sweet, you have to smile and so sweet. And then a few minutes later, you start giving out digital toe tags. And I'm laughing because when the shift happens, it's so seamless. I don't even know that it's going to happen because that's not my goal. I'm moving, how I'm led to move. But I want you all to understand, and I'm laughing when I say this because, they think I'm silly at times, funny at times, and serious at times. And that's important. And I'm glad that I'm like that, especially as a feminine in this space, because it's not easy warfare. And this won't last long. But I want you to remember that whenever a woman is getting ready to give birth, there is pain. Yes? She sometimes contracts other diseases and other illnesses prepping for this. Her body enlarges. There's more money, more resources. She has to expand the home. Her and her husband, if she's married or her mate or partner, they have to make preparations, right? Everything changes when you get ready to bring to birth a human being. Sometimes there's bloodshed, right? There's all of this stuff. There's yelling. There's moaning. There's screaming. Yes? What? She's birthing something. And just know that's where we are. It won't last long, but get in where you're sitting, baby. We're at war. And whether you like it or love it, whether you knew it or not, whether you thought you signed up for it or not, there's a such thing in war, and that's called draft. Some of you are drafted. Some of you don't even know that some of the things that you've gone through in your life have prepared you for this very moment. So this is our finest hour. And so let us make our ancestors proud. Let us make our future proud. And let us be about that life for us here and now. You understand?
Yes, ma'am, Vicki. Thank you. I'm glad that you were quick to respond to the actual DM I sent you about coming on. Like I say, we were going to get you on in December, but I suffered that loss of my mother. So I'm just thankful that you were able to still fit us in your busy schedule. As always, we wish you the best of luck. Keep doing what you're doing. I love listening to you. I heard you the other day speaking about the situation with Don Lemon and Whoopi Goldberg and the Ebony cover. And yeah. Yeah, we kind of covered that in the space as well too. So, but I love hearing the League of the what is it, the League of Mammies and stuff like that. Like yes, ma'am. So we would definitely love to have you back whenever you're not busy. If you don't mind coming back on here and just speaking with our people in the Twitter space, it would be an absolute privilege. So thank you once again. We wish you the best of luck and we love you and we want you to keep doing what you're doing, sister.
I love you, Beck, and thank you so much. Don't you stop. Never take it for granted. Nobody take it for granted. Don't just look at the numbers of what you do. Look at the potency and the power of what you're doing. Be consistent. Keep your heart right and don't stop. The small things have great power, just like dynamite. And we never take it for granted, our power in seed form. And so keep doing what you're doing. And as we work together in our different spaces, if we stay on code about what matters, don't mean we're free on everything, but being on code about what matters, we're going to make a mark on the earth that can't be erased. Thank you so much. I love you, family.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you once again for stopping by, y'all. That was Vicki Dillard. She blessed us with her presence in the actual Twitter space. Tomorrow night, we're going to also have Judge Joe Brown up in the Twitter space as well, too. So y'all make sure y'all come through on that. We're going to be talking about civilian policing. So y'all make sure you also, yeah, you know, Judge. yeah. The judge. I will definitely do that, Vicki. Thank you. Thank you, sister. So yeah, Vicki, she had some stuff she had to do, y'all. So we couldn't keep on as long as we like, but nonetheless, the sister came through, and you know we definitely appreciate that. So shout out to Vicki, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to all her channels on every social media account that she's got. She is one of the biggest, most vocal voices in the new Black media. She is definitely the queen. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and y'all check Vicki out as well too. I also want to touch up. I knew she wasn't going to be in this space long, so I had to touch up on this major breaking news that I had saw the other day. CBS originally posted it, and it's about the U.S. food additives ban in Europe. But they're banned in Europe, but they're giving it to us here. They're feeding us slop pretty much over here. Stuff that has carcinogens and everything else in it, they're giving it to us. So stuff that's banned in Europe, over here in America, the FDA isn't allowing it. I'm gonna just touch up on this real quick, y'all. And you know what I'm saying? If y'all want to raise your hand and speak about the interview we had with Vicki, you're more than welcome. We're gonna talk about this real quick, and you can go ahead and touch up on this as well too. It says Europe is famous for its bread, but there's one ingredient missing. Potassium bromate is suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe, China, and India, but not in the United States. In the U.S., the chemical compound is used by some food makers, usually in the form of fine crystals or powder to strengthen dough. It is estimated to be present in more than 100 products. There's evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may either initiate or promote the development of tumors. Professor Eric Millstone, the expert of food additives at England University of Sussex, told CBS News, he said European regulators take a much more cautious approach to food safety than their U.S. counterparts. Asked if it could be with certainty that differences in regulations mean people in the U.S. have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they had been eating exclusively in Europe, Millstone said that almost certainly the conclusion that could be reached. It's just not the potassium bromate. There's a range of other chemicals and substances that's banned in Europe over health concerns that are also permitted in the U.S., including titanium dioxide, bromate of vegetable oil, and a number of other things. Millstone, who's spent almost half a century researching food and agriculture science, said most Americans were likely completely unaware that they were being exposed on a daily basis to substances in their food viewed as dangerous in Europe. They probably just think, well, if it's available or it's in the stores, it's probably fine, he said. In a statement to the CBS News, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said all the food additives required pre-market evaluation and regulations required evidence that each substance is safe as it is intended, level of use before it may be added to foods. Post-approval, our scientists continue to review relevant new information to determine whether there are safety questions and whether the use of such substance is no longer safe, the agency added. Stacey McNarma is from upstate New York, but she has lived in London for a decade. She said raising children in the UK had opened her eyes to what's allowed for the foods in the U.S. She says she has no plans to ever move back home, and she told CBS News that the food safety was for sure a part of that decision. In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said when used properly, potassium bromate converts into a harmless substance during food production. The FDA acknowledged, however, that not all compound used in any given recipe may convert during the production process, but that control measures were utilized to minimize the amount in final products. That article is also up in the Jumbotron, y'all. It is U.S. food additives banned in Europe. Expert says what Americans eat is almost certainly making them sick. So the stuff that's banned over in Europe, China, India, and if you know if it's banned in China and India, and the U.S. is over here putting it in there, you know it's got to be pretty bad because China don't ban much of anything. And we saw from their wet markets when you had the actual pandemic that hit off ain't a whole lot they won't eat over there. If we're gonna be perfectly honest, we saw a bunch of bats and a bunch of damn bush meat and everything else that was up in those wet markets that they were just scarfing down left and right. So the United States is trying to keep the shelf item of these products on the actual shelf as long as possible so they can go ahead and they can turn a profit at the expense of American citizens. So the shit that we eating over here, and I've seen all kind of stuff that's banned in different nations around the world, the United States is still using it. So that's where we're at in terms of our actual the actual products that we're eating. A lot of these preservatives and additives and everything else that they're putting in there, stuff that you see, stuff that has a shelf life of a year and all this other stuff. Most things that's naturally made don't last a year. So if we're seeing stuff that's going to last a year and 8 months and 9 months, you have to wonder what's being put in there. The FDA is in bed with all of these major corporations as well too, because the FDA could go ahead and put a cease to this, but they're not doing that. Once again, the United States, they put the value of $1 over human lives. They feel like, hey, what doesn't kill you, I guess, will make you stronger. But we see why we're one of the nations that have one of the biggest cancer rates of any developed nation in the world. So we could talk about all the pollution and everything else as well too. But you are what you eat, and just when we think we're eating something healthy or something that might not hurt us, evidently it's a possibility that it could be killing us. And they're talking about this stuff is estimated to be present in more than 100 products. So, and this is just one type of product here too. So for all we know, we could be having thousands of products out there on the market that we have in our homes, that we're feeding our families, our kids, our loved ones, and it could be slowly killing us. So once again, the United States shows that they'll do anything and sacrifice anybody if a dime or a dollar could be turned. Let me give a shout out to everybody that's up in the space tonight. Let me give a shout out to Leon, Black Native, Rera, the company, Miss Giselle, bunch of y'all that's in here, Goddess, Original, Professor, Black Pressure, Dominique. It's a bunch of y'all up in here, y'all. We wanted to keep Vicki up here a little bit longer, but she did have some pressing issues she wanted to take. But anybody that wants to actually get on the mic and say something as well too, I was just glad to have Vicki up in here. This was the first time that she was in the Newstoter space. This sister was so gracious and kind that, as I was dealing with some personal issues, she still was able to come on here. It didn't take her long. I spoke to her a couple of weeks ago. She said she was down to come up in here. And, like I say, she just blessed us with her presence. So we're going to go from having Vicki tonight to having Judge Joe Brown tomorrow. So y'all know we're going to try to keep this thing lit. And it's going to be really entertaining when we know we have Judge Joe Brown up in here as well, too. So just shout out to this sister. She, about her busy schedule, she came in here. She is definitely, she's definitely one of the foremost voices in the new Black media, and she's such a powerful Black woman. And like you said, you don't have to agree with any and everything somebody says, but I really respect this sister. I respect how fearless she is, and I just absolutely love the content that she puts out as well too. So if any of you guys that's up in the space, if you're not following her, please make sure you follow her. She is definitely, like I say, she is definitely somebody that we must support. So I was just glad that we had the sister up in here. What happened, Miss Giselle? Miss Giselle?
No, it's like 3 of them.
I think Miss. Yeah, Miss. Hey, yeah, we heard you. We heard you at first.
No, I got my teenagers. My college student is home, and my daughter want them going because we eat everything.
Yeah, I want some mama sauce. I want chicken too. Baltimore.
No, my daughter she is the one. But anyway, I was coming up here to say big things for having Sister Vicki. I think it's so important to lift our sisters up like that. That puts so much work in. She's been doing this for a very long time, and when I have seen her online, and even when she's sick, she's still trying to push this message for us. I think that means, to me, it means so much. I don't know about anybody else, but when somebody is that intricate, and sorry for the noise in the background, they're not going to stop, but somebody that's that loving and caring, and if you know her story, like from being pushed in a prison for stuff that she didn't do, trying to fight for rights,
that's a lot. And it means a whole lot. So I just say thank you for having her on this platform, and actually for giving her that space. And let her see she really is a celebrity in our space. My kids will tell you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let them come through if I'm still on. I might let them see because my sons always say talk like to me because it's the video. So with that said, thank you for having her on this space and also putting the eye on the food because that's been going on for a very long time.
Absolutely, Miss Giselle, and thank you for coming through and listening tonight. And yeah, like I say, I give that sister a shout out. She's fearless, and also the food is slop that they're feeding people over here as well too. So just to put that in there, I saw that on CBS this morning. They was actually talking about that story, and I said, whoa. Not that it's surprising, because like I said, you can't have the shelf life of some of this stuff. Some of this stuff, man, you can buy this stuff and it's talk about best used by, we in 23 right now. I say best used by 25. Like what in the hell? What can you create that's supposed to still be good by 2025 and we in 2023 right now? It's got to be something that you putting in there, man, that just, that defies what nature actually is. So my man, Professor, what's going on, Professor? How you doing tonight?
Shit, I'm doing good, Newstoter, man. Still trying to get over my sickness, man. But hey, I was just glad to hear Sister Vicki Dillard was in the space, and she has been through a lot. And for anybody that knows anything about movement,
That's the top left on the jumbotron for you. But go ahead, bro.
Oh, okay.
I feel better too.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much. For anybody that knows anything about, anytime you're talking about doing something for Black America or making a move to help us get reparations or just to get any kind of civil rights, you're putting yourself on the line for anything. And Vicki Dillard is a sister that has put herself on the line. So that's why you have to show much love and respect to that sister and to anybody that goes out here and put boots to the ground. So definitely much love to that sister, much love to the brothers. And I just got to throw this out here, y'all, because y'all know what today is. If you haven't thought about it, we have to think about one of our leaders who was assassinated today, this very day, February 21st, 1965. So I want everybody to think about that too. And with the food situation, y'all, that's been going on for a long time. I've been concerned about that too, because I remember reading back, I think it was probably about around the time where this pandemic broke out. And they was talking about how there was nobody watching or inspecting this food that was coming in. Like things were just being shipped any which way without being checked. Okay? So this is something, even before the pandemic, y'all, it was going on because remember, America is corporation. America is about corporations. And when it comes to corporations, they dominate the government. They control it. So that's where you got to remember when you talk about these super PACs, that's where the money flows into the politicians. It comes from these big time corporations like Walmart, Target, Costco, you name it. So many out there. They flow money into these super PACs. Politicians are able to get paid. Okay? That's why you have guys that be up there and young ladies and women, guys and women that be up there for years. Okay? Because they latch on to the money that's given to them. They get big money that's put behind them to try to make sure that certain laws and bills are passed in the favor of the corporations. And to make sure that there's a permanent underclass always kept in the country. That's where we come in, Black America. We are the ones that they want as that permanent underclass. So white corporations, because that's what they are, make sure that big money is put into these low-down politicians who are willing to do the bidding to make sure that we stay as a permanent underclass. Everything that's done in America, y'all, is done for a reason. Okay, it's done. Main reason it's done is to maintain white supremacy. So that's what you have to keep in mind with all of this. All of this is being done to make sure that white supremacy is maintained, but there's also got to be a permanent underclass kept in this system because it's a white supremacy capitalist society. So I hear people say, well, is it really about racism or is it about class? It's a little bit of both in there. But as it pertains to Black America, it's about race, because that means we're kept at the bottom for a specific reason. See, it's race when it comes to us. Everybody else might be class, but with us, it's a racism thing. It's to make sure that we are kept as inferior. So, with that being said, once again, much love to Sister Vicki Dillard for coming up in the space, sharing with us her story. I say we continue to support her and anybody that's in the new Black media. Let's help continue to help Brother Newstoter build up this media platform, because this is going to be huge for us right here. Y'all probably have seen me say that for some of us who have gotten attached with Newstoter and DJ and Ray, I sometimes refer to it as Newstoter family now, because we are the ones that you see come up in here now constantly, consistently. And so I sometimes refer to it as the Newstoter family. And I'm glad to see most of you all up in here. And I'm going to step down now, y'all, because I'm having a hard time breathing right now. So everybody have a good night.
All right, Professor, and you make sure you take something for that too, man. And you may have to get you a little bit of something to drink to go along with that and try to cough it out or sweat it out as well too. So if you don't feel like speaking, just chill in the listener spot as well too, Professor. Let me give a shout out real quick to Miss Giselle. Miss Giselle, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. I see you just donated, so thank you, sister. I know you always support the platform as well too. Let me give a shout out to everybody that's in the space. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Like I said, tomorrow night we're gonna have Judge Joe Brown up in here as well too. He's gonna give us a crash course on civilian policing as well too, y'all. So this should definitely be interesting. Y'all make sure y'all come through as well tonight. Up in the Jumbotron is the actual YouTube channel and the actual newsletter. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, the largest Black American news curation media platform today in America. Also, if you do not have an actual Cash App, you can support us on Venmo or PayPal. That's also up in the Jumbotron as well. The article is up in the Jumbotron as well, too. If you guys want to go ahead and read that, you can go ahead and read that. It'll take you to the website. But once again, the Cash App is $Newstoter. Miss Giselle, how you doing tonight again, sister?
Yes, I'm doing good. And again, I'm sorry, the teenagers off the rocker tonight. But I wanted to tell you, like with the food issue that we're having right now, it seems like they do that to keep our population low. If you look at your 401k, you invest in these companies, and the goal is for you not to really be able to reach retirement age so you can actually get like a payout. So you die early, paying for medical expenses by the age of 30 these days. Actually, it's going down to 20, and the babies, because there's so many kids that's ending up with this heart disease, this random heart disease now. So medications are being pushed on everybody for just about everything. So they created this cycle of wealth, and we're the hamster that's running on the wheel and produce the wealth. And it's no different to like when you go to McDonald's today, you can actually see on the door cancer-causing food product. Cancer may cause food. The food may cause cancer on the door.
It says that.
Yeah, they had the stuff. I'm gonna actually post the.
Yeah, you know, my dad was a manager at McDonald's back in the 80s. Like, for real.
It's different food, because remember they had an article that came out years ago where
for sure that food from the 80s.
Different food.
Hot cakes, I used to love going to McDonald's get some hot cakes, man. Oh man.
Yeah, but the potato for McDonald's is grown on Bill Gates' land, and you can actually see them from the satellites in outer space. It's ridiculous. Like like, this is some real live stuff. That's why I get on my kids. I'm like, please, let's not do, like, they'll sneak and go to McDonald's with their father, but I'm not a fan of them. They go to McDonald's. I don't like McDonald's for my kids. I just don't. Or for anybody. You're literally eating poison. And God forbid you don't even know what the burger is. Like, it really is impossible. But, yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on that we got to focus on.
Get the crack mac sauce, that crack mac sauce, man.
That's crazy because, like, my kids, they love the French fries at McDonald's. Like,
yeah, but they don't decompose. You can keep a French fry from McDonald's for the rest of your life. It can just sit on your menu.
what? Oh,
So,
Lord.
like dust. Have you ever seen mold grow on McDonald's? Anything? Nothing.
Nah. Ms. Giselle, you're gonna have to post some of this stuff for me. Like, hey, listen, I'm not, because I remember when they had the damn, yeah, they did have that hamburger from McDonald's years ago. Like, that damn thing, I forgot how old it was, and it still had like decomposed. Like, good Lord, like what are they putting in this stuff right here? I went to the store the other day and I was about to buy some fish, frozen fish or whatever. So I was looking, I'm like, well, let me go ahead and I was looking at the catfish, I was looking at the tilapia, I was looking at the I think flounder, and
Don't ever eat tilapia, but go ahead.
but it was another, I don't know if it was perch or whatever I was looking at, but all of it came from China. I'm like, man, I don't want no fish from no China. All of it was like what type of wild caught in China. I'm like, I don't want to met like you already chancing the fish over here in this country with how polluted the waters is and stuff like that. Now you talking about China, like the biggest toxic polluter on earth. So I'm like, I can't do this. But I remember I had bought some shrimp, some frozen shrimp. I had them up in the freezer. I said, well, let me look and see what the shrimp from. How damn the shrimp is from India. I'm like, oh my Lord. I'm like, you can't even now to the point American got so sorry that we can't even produce our own food. We got to go to India and China and all these other places to get food from them. I don't trust nothing. I'm gonna be honest. I don't trust nothing from a lot of these foreign nations and stuff like that. I don't trust it in my own country. So I have even less trust of it in China and India and Indonesia and wherever it's coming from. If it ain't coming from here, and like I say, I don't have much trust in the United States products right now either, because it's gone down 100%. But you talking about taking stuff from China, and no, man, I can't do that. But shout out on the tilapia, what you were saying too as well, man. Like that tilapia, and back in the day, we used to fry up some tilapia down here. But I know everybody started talking about it was farm raised, it was this, it was that, or whatever. So yeah, the tilapia you got to kind of watch out for.
The best thing to do to solve that type of problem is go connect with a real butcher that's open to the public. You know what I'm saying? But like, still on a local scale where like everybody named mama ain't buying from them. That's what I do. Same thing with the seafood. Connect with your local fishery, and get that shit straight out the ocean, You know what I mean? But as far as China goes, there's been reports because I'll be on this China shit. Y'all be wondering like, yo, what you talking about China? CCP? Now you just heard it. Everything that we fucking consume come from China. But I already knew that. But if you get in the Jumbotron, if y'all go watch Flave City, he tell you what everything that's in your ingredients, man. So, I've gotten sick a couple years ago, got IBS type irritable bowel, GERD issues, acid reflux added up. Consuming this fucking food, you know what I mean? But once you get wind of this shit, you have your Negro wake up moment about it. Hey man, you're gonna have to do something to change your diet, and that's really what this shit's about, you know what I mean? So, shout out to the smoothie gang. You already know.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. Getting back to Vicki Dillard, like she was going in on Don Lemon, because Don Lemon made the comment about, I guess, yeah, he made the comment that women, I guess, was basically washed up by the time they got 50 years of age or whatever. And, CNN suspended him. Of course, they had to bring Don back. So, Don's supposed to be this super sensitive type man or whatever, LGBTQ. And I just found that funny. Like, I wonder if that had been a straight man that had made that kind of comment about women being basically washed up by the time they hit 50 years of age, would they have even brought him back? So they brought Don back. Vicki, she was also going in like the same way we was talking about the ebony cover with the Jonathan Majors dude. She was talking about that. She was talking about Whoopi Goldberg. And of course, we know Whoopi. We already said with Whoopi, like when Whoopi, that that space we had when we was talking about Whippy was talking about, and that might have been in Rella's space where she was talking about, I think Black Native was in there, but she was talking about her family got 20 acres and basically why Black people like, well, we already got our reparations and my family got 20 acres and this and that and a mule or whatever. And like, man, it's millions of Black people ain't got nothing from no reparations. So if your family was lucky enough to get something, don't sit up here and act like every single solitary Black person got it, because at the time of slavery ended was what 3-4 million Black people in this country. I guarantee you the vast majority of them, I guarantee you at least 388,000 of them, or if not 390,000 of them, ain't get jack. So don't sit up here and act like everybody got paid when slavery ended. But shout out to Vicki, because Vicki, she has some great topics. The sister can really hold her own on the mic, so I definitely enjoy hearing her and stuff going in. She also was I found it interesting. Like I say, we couldn't have her on here long enough because she had some stuff she had to do. But she was also talking about Kevin Samuels had made a comment one time, because she's like, yeah, I agree with some of the stuff Kevin Samuels said. She's like, and some of the stuff he said I didn't agree with. But she was saying that Kevin Samuels had made a comment that that he once said that all Black women were universally unattracted. Unattracted. So I mean, I don't really know how you can really defend that comment right there, because that if he said that all Black women were universally unattracted, you know, it's not really anything you can defend there, man. That's pretty a low blow there, like, to be honest. And he was saying that, and she said that he also said that Black women should be submissive like a dog. So yeah, I know, DJ, you say Kevin Samuels is right, but on this one, Kevin Samuels was dead wrong. God rest the dead. If he said that, you know, that's not really that's not nothing we can really rock with right here.
Again, bro, context terminology matters, bro. Go watch the 2 and 4 hour live videos versus Instagram, TikTok posts. Good day.
Yeah, I'd have to see that, but like I said, if he actually said that all Black women, you know, were universally not attractive, you know, that would be Again, you're making the same assumptions everybody else making. Why did he say that? Go watch the 4 hour live. You know what I'm saying? Context terminology matters, man. Not the clip art we see on WorldStar, the 60-second shorts we see on YouTube. That don't matter. Go watch the real thing. And now, if you pay attention, everybody named Mama bootlegging his shit. You feel what I'm saying? You got all these little YouTubers taking this content and just making their own content out of the shit. So it's like, damn, why weren't you doing that shit when he was there? You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is. Oh, yeah. And like I said, I wasn't a big Kevin Samuels fan. I think I watched a couple of his videos, so I never really could get into it. So I can't, like I say, most of the stuff I hear from him is from like a third party. Like I didn't listen to his content like that. And like I said, I've heard women that said they agreed with some of the stuff he said, you know, and I heard some men say they disagree with some of the stuff he said. So he was a polarizing figure, to say the least. Right, but hold up a minute. For the record, me neither. I just understand context terminology. So again, before Kevin Samuels got to y'all women, or y'all got to him in that light, because where was everybody else at when he was talking about men and saying, hey, you know, you call on my show saying you want to be a 6-figure man, you want to get to all the chicks and all this other stuff. Well, shit, you don't even wash your ass, bro, if you live at home with your mother. So nobody was saying none of that shit back then, or even speaking about it. But the moment Miss Your Average at Best called the show, and he gave her grace, they said this ain't the time to call the show. You could call on, book a call with me, or, you know, call on another day. So she kept pressing him, you know, and that's how the shit came to light. Your Average at Best, man. Yeah, like I say, I would definitely have to, you know, just get the content and hear that exactly, because like I said, man, like, I mean, and I don't, did you ever hear the comment? I'm gonna get to you, Mr. Giselle. Did you ever hear him say the comment that, you know, Black women are universally not attractive? I'm gonna say, yeah, no. At the same time, I'm gonna say no, starting with that as far as that particular comment. But I'll say, yeah, most likely he did say it, but what was the reason? What was the context behind him saying that shit? Got to be a reason for a person saying something. They ain't just saying it just to be saying it, bro. Real rap. Well, I don't know if old boy should have went ahead and said nothing like that. Now I'm gonna be, like I said, God bless the dead. You know, I can't. Like I say, I was not there to actually hear it, but I can't. To me, the most attractive women would be Black women. So you say here, and now if you're talking about, if you're saying that either you're saying that physically they're unattractive, or their personality makes them unattractive. So I would have to, like I say, like you say, context is everything. I would have to actually hear what he said.
Right. So,
well, let me say this, y'all. I didn't mean to.
Real quick, Professor, hold that thought real quick, because let me get to Miss Giselle, because I got to hear what a woman gonna say on this. Miss Giselle, go ahead and then I'm gonna get right back to you, Professor.
Yeah, I never really listened to a full episode of his, but when I did listen, it seemed more like some of these girls, from the episodes that I heard, some of these women were going on there, and the stories were so just outrageous. Some of his responses, I'm like, I can see why he went that way. The one woman who was mad at, he did one with a woman who was mad at her ex because he wouldn't take her back after she cheated on him. And then she was like, I came to him, I was telling him that I'm ready to settle down. And it was so weird because these women, and then they cry foul. You came to this space, or people that come there to say, I think I'm a 10, I'm this and that. And then they start talking, and then it's just a weird dynamic, and then it goes into another direction. So that's what I heard, from what I had peeked in. And that was only when he was, when he passed away. I never really, cared to listen, but it didn't seem like he was, to me, it didn't seem like his responses was to be belittling of women. I think a lot of some stuff, if all of the conversations was like what I've heard, it just didn't seem like it was to belittle the women. It was kind of sort of checking women sometimes, and that's not to be on the man's side or anything like that. Just sometimes it just seemed like you're checking them, well, sit down a little bit. You cool, but you alright. That's who you are. But at the same time, for that man to have a whole nother race woman in his home when he passed away, that just goes to show, he was saying some stuff, but then you live in a whole different lifestyle with people that don't even look like you. So, and that's who you died with. And it was and that person kind of kept it going. Hey, you died and that was it. So, and not only that, he was married a couple times. So I think a lot of, it's the blind leading the blind in a lot of those situations. So, but from what I heard on the show, I've heard him check men. It was 2 different episodes. It was one where the woman had called in for various things that I discussed. Then it was another one where it was older. And he was talking about men. He was bum guys that's out here trying to live off of women and stuff like that. He addressed that. I don't know, maybe I should go back and listen some more for more context, but it just seems like he was trying to do some straightening in the culture. That's what I got. And he just had a different way to deliver it and living an alternative life compared to what his message was, according to who he died with. So I'll leave it there.
Real talk, Miss Giselle. Like I say, you probably watch more videos of him than I have. So thank you for going ahead and just putting that out there real quick for us. Because like I say, I think I've listened to maybe 2 videos, and I don't think I listened to the entirety. So I couldn't sit up here and tell you that I was an expert on any of his content, because I definitely weren't.
Right.
I knew who he was. I knew that he had a huge following. I knew that a lot of people, a lot of men especially, gravitated towards him. I knew that he even had a female following as well too. So, and I heard that he did, kick dirt on both black men and black women as well too. So, you're right. At the time of his death, there was a woman that wasn't a black woman that was with him. So, I don't know anything about the man personally. I know they was trying to imply that he was broke and he was in this and that or whatever. They come to find out that was not true at all. So, Professor, go ahead and share your thoughts on it real quick too. And like I say, because of Vicki talking about it earlier, in one of her videos, I actually his name just popped up in my head. But go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and what Ms. Giselle just said was absolutely on the money, and DJ too. We have to look at the context of what the man was trying to say, and I think when he was speaking on the black women being universally not appealing, I remember, I think it was in the context of a survey that had came out with such information. It was like one of those Pew Research polls that that they do, and it was in reference to how other groups view each other when it comes to dating. And supposedly they had every group on there, black, white, Hispanic, and for some reason black women were at the bottom of the dating scale. So putting it in context, I think that's what Kevin Samuel was talking about, y'all, is black women are at the bottom of the dating scale. When you got all the groups in there, right? Asian men, white men, who else? Just different ones, different groups. And they, for whatever reason, they said black women were the most unattractive to them. A lot of that's going to come down to typical images of the sisters. Now, the sisters are the most beautiful women. So that tells you right there, I didn't agree with the poll. I thought the poll was a bitch-made poll, to be honest with you. But I think that's what he was talking about. Black women are the most beautiful women. Don't ever let nobody tell you otherwise. If you believe that bullshit, it's something wrong there, because they put these polls out here like they do anything else to basically throw a monkey wrench into what Black America is really trying to do. They want us to feel bad about ourselves. They want us to look bad at our women. And black men, we can't look bad at our women. We don't want our women looking bad at us. It's got to be black love, black unity all the way, baby. That's what it's all about. When it's black men and black women together, it's the most powerful unit ever. Bar none. I'll land my plane there.
I know Ray, he just said that he couldn't hear anything again. So Ray having some issues once again in the space. Ray, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how everybody else's connection is. So I didn't even, when this space started, I started a few minutes early because I didn't know if it was going to be a crap space in terms of the actual connection. I didn't DM anybody because whenever I start trying to DM, the space just goes blank. It shuts off. So from now on, until we get something fixed, I'm not even gonna be able to send out the DMs, y'all. So when y'all 8 o'clock Thursday, Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time is when we're gonna do the Twitter space. I can't send out the DMs. Whenever I send out those DMs, it just jacks up the entire space. So y'all just come up here at 8 o'clock and we'll have it going and rolling, y'all. But until like something gets fixed, I can't even send the DMs out. So that's where we at right now. Miss Giselle, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, and as for the poll, I don't know about that poll. But see, I don't even know. I didn't know it was a. But yeah, I think the whole goal with that is to divide and conquer the whole like family unit, and they're doing it slowly, but they have to they gotta like flood our televisions with stereotypes, our airwaves with the conversation talking points from people that they control that look like us. They have to flood the media, such as not really the media portion, but the television, because a lot of these shows, the reality shows, most of those people, they don't even be us. And then they're reflecting us when they talk about the culture, because most of the time they're here. So it looks like they're talking about us. And it appears like, this is how Black Americans act. They dump that on us. But then when they do something great, they recognize the great side of themselves. And they've done this systematically for so long. That's just part of their cultures. But now that we're pushing back on those things, it's starting to make these other groups stand out the most. Like, it was an article that just went out that I saw floating around today, but it was talking about a Nigerian woman that got beat up by her husband because he found out the baby wasn't his. But top of the women, who are the top two women who are the lead, who I guess they lie about the baby's daddy, it's not Black Americans. I think the top one was one of the Islanders, and then Nigeria. Those were like the top people lying on who the fathers are of their kids. So those stereotypes are quickly getting pushed away. And, I'm sorry. Not only that, the dynamics between Black American men and women relationships are being revealed. Like our black men are deemed some of the best fathers, and that's being pushed out there. You see black women, we still are the least likely, even though some are divesting, we're still the least likely to really date outside of our race still compared to all of these other women. So it's certain things that's being revealed that's still showing that we have a close connection. They're still gonna try to tear us apart, but this is our job to pull us back together again. And I'll end.
Real quick, because Ray, I want to ask you something because you posted something early today. Real quick, I want to read this comment from Rory. He had he posted something. Oh, Miss Giselle, you posted something. I'm sorry, and it had that. It was from the New York Post. It says Bill Gates is potato farming hoeing for McDonald's fries. So, Bill Gates, I guess, that would hit all the farms and stuff like he has or whatever. He's one of McDonald's biggest farmers because I know he has all that land and property. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's those are what I was talking about. In his potatoes, I tried to look for that article. I can't even find the article, so anybody can find it, just post it. Because I guess they're trying to bury it because the potatoes were so huge. You can see them from the satellites. And when we looked at
hold on. You saying that you can see potatoes from the satellite?
I'm dead ass. You can see the potatoes from the satellites that's floating over the earth. So apparently, that's how big they're doing these potatoes. But keep in mind, he was one of the main people behind the GMO farms. Because keep in mind, that's the crops that he wanted to put throughout Africa. He said, you know what, Africa, I know you guys are having a drought. What I'm going to do for you, I'm going to do these GMO farms so we can create all of these food for you to eat. It's still edible. It's just not real. And that's what the plan was for Africa. So he bought all of the farmland, the majority of the farmland. He has the highest ownership in farmland here in the States. And it's not a surprise that all of these factories are blowing up all over the country for food. It's not a surprise that years prior, all of these crops of animals. Remember how the horses, the chickens, everything just started dropping dead. The fish in the water were dropping dead. Now they got the farming of the fish, which are done in pools. And this is why the bacteria breeds in these areas because it's not a natural habitat. So it's no ecosystem. So when you have those focus areas, you have bacteria. Bacteria grows in areas where there's nothing to combat it. So that's what's happening with all of these things. And they're pumping antibiotics into the animals because of these, like they're doing this type of stuff across the country, across the world really, with these crops. And with them doing this, we're not, like our bodies are not fighting off bacteria the way they used to because we're eating animals that's high on antibiotics. So it's so many things that's happening that's wrong about this. But yes, long story short, GMO farming is what's going to be in the next 10 years.
Shit, it's already about that way now. But if you go to the store, you can at least see some products that say that it contains non-GMO. So definitely go ahead and make sure you try to get those products as much as possible. DJ, because I want to get Ray back up because Ray had this crazy tweet he had today, man. And I'm trying to see if we can find Ray back if he's in the space. But go ahead, DJ. I got to get Ray back up here and ask him about this.
Yeah, my bad. Hey, miss your question real quick. You ain't got to answer it, or if you don't know, just whatever. So, was there a difference between Kevin Samuels and Tommy Sotomayor?
I never listened to Tommy Sotomayor. I never listened to Kevin Samuels.
Tommy Sotomayor was like the ultimate black conservative, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's not a dude that I would listen to. Like, so that's not like I wouldn't listen to that.
Well, Tommy Sotomayor. Now, like I said, I haven't heard Kevin Samuels really enough, but Tommy Sotomayor really seemed like he did really harbor some real animosity against black women. Now, I could be wrong, but from what I heard of him, I mean, he blamed black women for every goddamn thing that went wrong.
Yeah, and I only know from what Tariq said about him, and that was enough for me not to want to even look. I don't like that. I can't like, and when you listen to it, you want to be like, it puts you in a different space. I'll be careful the energy that I want to take on. That ain't good. Not that self-hate guy.
So let me ask you a question, DJ. Was it a difference between the two of them to yourself?
I mean, the only difference was the way they said what they said to you. You know what I'm saying? One might say the BITCH, while the other one might say, "Hey, look, listen here, man. I'm gonna tell you what it is." But the narrative or the rhetoric was really the same shit. You know how it is. Somebody say something to you. You may not like the way they said that shit, but you know damn well what they said was some real ass shit, and you can't even be mad. But you're mad though. You see what I'm saying?
From what I can from what I heard of Tommy Sotomayor, though, man, every single solitary, the reason that black people was as bad off as they are was because of black women. It was everything that he said. The reason that we were in the predicament we were, the reason we didn't have this, we didn't have that, was all about black women. Like that seemed to be his whole thing. Now it seemed like, from what I've heard from other people say, like I say, I didn't hear Kevin Samuels enough. But from what I hear, you know, of course, you got a group of people that hate Kevin Samuels. You got a group that love him. You had some that was in the middle. Some that said, well, you know, he got on black men, like he got on black women, this and that. What's his name? Tommy Sotomayor, man, he just, to me personally, he just seemed to be like everything was a black woman. Like, you know, everything that any fault that lied and what the black community was at, that they were lacking behind and this and that, it was solely black women's fault.
Okay, so again, I'm not agreeing with that. What I'm asking y'all is there a difference? And like pretty much what Giselle said, I haven't heard enough of either one. So again, context matters. But Tommy, he's a shock jock. Let's look at it like that. Howard Stern, Black Howard Stern or whatever, you know what I mean? So he's doing it for the entertainment too. He ain't just saying it just to say this shit. But he even used to say that Kevin Samuels stole his rhetoric. See what I'm saying? So that's why I'm asking that question. Well, those that know who these two men are, is there really a difference? You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, they twins, one evil, one good, but they saying the same shit though.
Is Tommy Sotomayor still really popping like he used to? Because I don't hear as much about him. Is he still?
The whole internet done banned him, but even though he really online, you just gotta kind of know where to look at, you know? Because everybody, you know, the black women got tired of being called out their name, so they just went on a mass campaign. They just had his ass banned from social media, bro. But he's still out here, though.
Yeah, because I know, because a big chunk now, I can't say by Kevin Samuels, because it seemed like most of his followers and listeners was black, but it seemed like a big chunk of Tommy Sotomayor's followers and listeners, especially on YouTube, were actually white people. Like you had a lot of white people that was clapping for.
Like you say, shock jock one. Because Republican, I ain't even gonna say Republican because I don't know that. But
yeah, he was a Republican, bro. The nigga was a Republican.
Right. I don't know his political status other than just, you know, him being a conservative. Black people are conservative, so you could call us Republicans. We are the original people of the Republican Party. So some black folks actually get upset at that for whatever the reason. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, shock jock shit is content for get money. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know, just like you told a lot of black women in your space, you don't have to entertain that shit. You don't have to be up in there. You don't have to call Kevin Samuels show. You don't have to listen to Tommy Sotomayor. Sometimes we feed into shit. You know what I mean? Oh, you ain't gonna say that. You ain't gotta say nothing because it go back to the old saying: if the shoe fits, wear it. If they ain't talking about me, I don't even know who you talking about. It ain't me. So that's the other narrative we got to get back to. So, just to tell you a little fucking issue that happened to me over the weekend, you know what I mean? This is why Kevin Samuels was right. Niggas out here is simps. That's the real argument. Because again, you got to go back before you knew who Kevin Samuels was or you found out who he was. He was doing YouTube videos 6 years before that, telling men how to dress and what cologne to wear to get the girl. You know, if you want to be married, hey, look, I'm having a mixer over here. You can come through with your best, you know, trying to be a high value performer. We're talking about stocks, shit like that. So at the end of the day, what it really falls down to, a lot of these motherfucking dudes out here is lames. They say simps and lames out here. That's all that's out here. So this is where the Tommy Sotomayor rhetoric comes in at, where he kind of be blaming not just black women, but obviously he's black, so he gonna focus on our community, but single mothers in general. Whereas, you know, hey, I don't need a man for dying rhetoric. Now, my kid don't need a father, all this other stuff, but you can't raise a man. So that's the other narrative is they the same person or not? You know what I mean? Or they saying the same shit rather, you know what I mean? But saying it in a different way. So my little adventure over the weekend, doing a little Instacart, that's what I do on the side of shit, you know what I mean? So my last delivery, yeah, let's get it, you know what I'm saying? I did $150 today, you know what I'm saying? Everything going smooth, delivery's clicking. Get to the customer address. Now, keep in mind, I never really look at the person's name. I'm just going to go see what the fuck they're getting, get the shit, drop that shit, and be gone. So I'll pull up to the person's house. I was on the opposite side of the street, and I'm messaging them, and I'm hitting them with the emoji so you could just see, hey, look, I'm here, or whatever, because most people don't be responding to shit. So I get, I see the message. Oh, yeah, my husband is in the back of the house. So I said, damn, I must be on the wrong side of the street. Pulled up behind the building and shit. Oh, okay, I see him. That's what's up. So I get out the car, I say, hey, how you doing and shit. This motherfucker says to me, now keep in mind, he a poppy tether, a primo tether, you know what I'm saying? We'll leave it at that. So he asked me, he's like, yo, what's up with these emojis you sending to my wife? I said, excuse me? He said, what's up with these emojis like you keep bombing the DM? I said, that's to get your attention. Because I was standing over there for a while trying to figure out where your address was. Google don't always lead you to the right spot. So, yeah, but you don't got to do all that. But I got your attention though, right? When I was sitting over there 5 minutes trying to call y'all and text y'all before. So if you're really assuming that I'm actually trying to holler at your wife, that's some bullshit, bro. You making an accusation towards me, and I said that to this man. You know what I'm saying? So he said, yeah, but that's a little unprofessional. So I could clearly see where this shit is going. So I just looked at him with a dirty ass look, pop my back door, you know what I mean? And start handing him his shit. Because here's why I thought that while I was giving him a dirty look. Your bitch cheated on you, bro. That's just what it is. She cheated on you, yo. You know what I'm saying? Because if you worried about a delivery man that don't even know you, never met you from a can of fucking paint, and you accusing me of sending flirt emojis to your wife, it wasn't no heart emoji, nothing. It's just the laughy faces and shit. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. And then show me the text, bro, where I'm asking, hey, what's your number, girl? You got a man on here, that shit? You know what I'm saying? I got the food. Come on, hop in the whip. You know what I'm saying? Go to my shit. You know what I'm saying? None of that shit. So I instantly, that's what came to my mind. This motherfucker's a simp. You know what I'm saying? Or you are, what's the word? Somebody help me out. Not egotistical, but what's the word?
Insecure.
There you go. I was just about to say, it was about to roll off the tongue. Thank you, Mr. Giselle. You insecure as a motherfucker. So where do you learn to be that shit at? Now, most other the Caribbean Latin jokers, males I do know, they are like that. So it didn't faze me. You feel what I'm saying? To understand that, this is why I be trying to tell us, you don't know how these people are. I've been around them all my life. So it was easy for me to walk away. But in reality, I should have killed that dude, yo, on some real shit and beat him half to fucking death. Because you're making an accusation of something that ain't even true. And then you over here trying to press me. You're pressing the wrong dude, bro. You know what I'm saying? My state number 309-1616. Stop playing with me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'll have that same number if I go right back. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to walk away from these people. I get that shit more than ever. The more we fight for this reparations and we move forward, you just got to walk away from people. Friends, frenemies, enemies alike. It don't even matter. And the tethers, obviously, just completely stay away from this one. Because the shit ain't worth your fucking time. You know what I mean? So, all right, I'll call Instacart. Hey, yo, you need to ban these people. Because regardless of what the situation was that happened to me, what happens to the next man that has to make a delivery at this fucking people's house? And this motherfucker's insecure. Don't know if he got a gun on him or what. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to make a delivery, get my bread, and be gone. If I wanted to go get some biddies, I'll go back to the supermarket where I was just at, flirting with the ones over at the register. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I do with shit. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'll go entertain them before I entertain a motherfucker I never even met. These dudes out here, they samp show. And then this is the reason why Kevin used to go in on these women. Because you allowing the Tyrone nigga to manipulate you. You knew this nigga was a thug, street nigga, and now you got 4 babies by the nigga, or 4 babies by 5 other niggas. You know what I'm saying? Talking that shit. So black women don't like their business being put out there in that fucking way. But hold up a minute, we're talking about a community thing. And keep in mind, Kevin Sanders was no relationship expert. He was a lifestyle coach. You see what I'm saying? So he just so happened to be a relationship one because he see y'all, the woman saw how he was carrying these men. So they want to know from him as a man, how do I get a man? Hello? That's all the shit is. So you look at all the shows, all the context behind it, 2, 4, 5, 10-hour lives, all these other interviews he done did with all these other media folk saying the same shit. You know what I mean? We got to start learning how to get our community together. And the last thing he always used to emphasize, and this obviously got to be true, because when you look at the scope of the shit, 86% of black men are married to black American women or somebody in the diaspora. It's only the 15% or so that's up online talking shit. And that's the context and to keep us all entertained at the end of the day. So, yeah, get up there. Jumbotron, Kevin Samuels is right. That's my playlist. Get in there and get the fucking information. Because why is it that also black women don't even want to listen to other black women that are saying the exact same shit Kevin Samuels is saying? So if you ever heard of sisters like Crimson Curve, Pink Book Lessons, there's a bunch of other ones out here. You know what I'm saying? I see a bunch of newbie sisters coming up off the Kevin Samuels rhetoric, and it's all gravy and shit. I think this is where the pick me crowd is coming in at, something like that. I ain't been following that too crazy, but it is what it is. So yeah, you know, black women, the ones that are single or looking for a man and husband, y'all gotta start being more open into us black men again, because y'all used to be that. But I guess this independent mindset done cross y'all path, and hey, I don't need a nigga for shit, because that's how it is. I don't feel that a lot of men, from what I talk to these youngins, they're not even given a chance by some of these young black women, because they too busy looking at the limelight of what's on YouTube, World Star. Black men ain't living like that. Niggas got McDonald's jobs and push carts at fucking at the Piggly Wiggly. You feel what I'm saying? And if you do got a good ass job, you know, you ain't gonna never be home. You're gonna be working all the fucking time. So it's like, damn, that's what made me think about this tether. I dropped that food off. You must work all day and she was cheating on your ass. Or you was cheating on her, something. It was so easy to walk away. How I was able to get that understanding watching Kevin Samuels. But I already knew that though. That's why my title of my playlist, I was Kevin Samuels before Kevin Samuels knew he was Kevin Samuels. So repeat that shit 3 times fast and I get it.
Let's just say I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on that. But I mean, I respect what you got to say, but I think Kevin Samuels found him a nice little niche. He found something that worked for him, and he was able to go ahead and push it forward. So I'm not gonna say that everything he said and was right or wrong or whatever, but he found his niche. He was able to, go ahead and get him a crowd that supported it, and he blew up off of it. So like Jay-Z said back in the day, you can't knock the hustle. So I give him that. So he was able to find something. He found his lane, and he was successful in it. But some of the stuff that just that I hear him saying, or I've heard him say, I've heard real quick. Yeah, but real quick. Real quick. Let me because I let you go ahead. So let me go ahead. I feel like he found him something that was successful for him. He was able to go ahead and profit from him. And I'm not gonna say what he said was 100% was false or whatever, but he found something that worked for him. He was able to go ahead and use it to his advantage, and it seemed to make him a pretty wealthy man for the most part. So I'll give him that. He found something, and can't knock the hustle. I give him his credit for it. Some of what I'm saying, like anybody, I'm sure some of what he said was true, and I'm sure what some of he said was not true. But at the end of the day, hey, it worked for him. So I mean, rest the dead. God rest the dead. He's gone, but he left a legacy behind too. So I mean, when you think about it, how many people actually on this planet, besides just having kids or whatever, actually leave a real legacy behind? And he left that. Whether you agree with what he said or not, people still talking about this man, and he's been dead for almost about damn near a year now. So give him his due on that. Go ahead, DJ, and then I know Ms. Giselle got her hand up as well.
I just want to say again, it's not a hustle. It's a lifestyle, bro. It's a difference. You know what I mean? The lifestyle is what you love to do. So he already loved to dress up in 3-piece suits, wear certain colognes, go hang out at the high-end clubs, the parties being, what do you call it, up at the water cooler at the Fortune 500 company, come from that background. So that's a lifestyle. So if I'm teaching somebody else how to do it, that's just a lifestyle, not a hustle. The hustle comes in when people start adapting to you. But this is where, he can look at it as a way to earn a living. It ain't a hustle. You know what I'm saying? A hustle is something you just go back and forth, or you do a little of this, a little of that. Now this is a lifestyle because he was already doing it. See what I'm saying? Go ahead, Mr. Shell.
I think that overall, for this, I think certain talking points in any way, people get triggered because we're traumatized. So you're gonna have in all of those instances when you're being critically analyzed and all of that type of stuff, people go into defense because it's like in some cases it's a reality check, in other cases it feels like you're being attacked because you've been through some stuff because of the trauma that you're under. So there's so many dynamics that's with that. That's why, like, how messages are received, it just depends on that person and their background and where they are mentally. How can they handle, like, either being, if first of all, if you go on a platform like that and then they're gonna judge you, you got to be ready for whatever you get. Whatever you're gonna get. If this person already said that, why would you go to a place like that? And I think that just goes to show a lot of our people are just attracted to trauma. Because for some people, it was traumatizing. You listen to the women outside in the room, this is what made me listen. I was like, we're going to see what they were talking about. But when you're going to listen, like a lot of these women were traumatized because either one, it was a reality check, or like, it's like, all right, so you went too hard in this one specific area that particularly affected this person. So I think right now, for traumatized people, what we need the most is something to heal us, like something that pour more love into each other and more. And because we are already, this is why every time people when we get together and we disagree on one thing, we ready to swing, throw blows, and everything. It's never like immediate compromise because of the trauma. We're in defense mode. So that's going to be the only response. So I can't say his approach was the best way or good, bad, ugly, whatever the case may be. Time will tell if we still talking about it and if people still benefit from it. I know he had like a track record.
Hey, real quick, Ms. Giselle, Mr. Engaging, if you want to get the microphone, you can request the microphone and come up here and speak, bro. I mean, I don't know how Joe Biden got put into something about Kevin Samuels, but if you want to grab the microphone, you can come up here and speak, bro. Go ahead, Ms. Giselle.
Yeah, I just don't know about like a lot of that stuff because honestly, when I hear us talking and us going through this, we really are going through a lot of crap. It's just it. And now we go to work every day, deal with the crap. You come home, depending on what's going on, you deal with the crap. You go online to socialize, you're dealing with the crap. You go to just like hang with your family, you deal with the crap. You talk to your bill collectors, you're dealing with the crap. We are we deal with all. We have no outlet. So the last thing that we need right now is something that'll like traumatize us even more. I'm not saying his approach was the worst or anything like that because again, I would have to listen to more of his shows. But I think more so when we're dealing with each other, we need to come from more like a sincere, let me hear you for 1 second. All right, let me hear you, you hear me, and like no response, no immediate response. Really not even listening to me. So that's where we have to get to that point. But we ain't gonna get there under all of this trauma. So I'm gonna land with that.
All right, Mr. Engaging, you can go ahead and unmute your mic. Yeah, I can't hardly hear you. Can you speak up a little bit louder?
My bad. Oh, shoot, my mic. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Yeah, my bad, family. Yeah. What I said was, in the chat is that I consider that whole traumatic thing a little bit BS, is because I feel like they disrespected another man's opinion. Like he was a man that had an opinion. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But when you have a man like Joe Biden who actually posed harm to our community and stuff, I don't see the same smoke. That's what I was more or less getting at. I don't see the same vitriol. This man died, for crying out loud, and they were just like kicking over the tombstone and pissing on the family. So like he's a black man from our lineage, respectfully. Like I don't know this other Tommy Sotomayor guy.
I don't think he's from our lineage, but I know that Kevin Samuel may be a Black American. So, like, I think that we should extend each other a little bit more grace, and that's where I was more or less getting at. Newstoter.
Okay, let me respond to that real quick because you didn't hear anybody in here dissing Kevin Samuels and shitting on his grave and pissing on it or whatever. Matter of fact, we had spaces about that talking.
No, not you.
Oh, okay.
Overall, the society, how they treated him as a Black man.
Well, I agree with you. Real quick.
That's what I was getting at, Newstoter.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because you had Vivica Fox and them sitting up here celebrating after the man died or whatever. Whether you agree with the man's opinion or not, it's his opinion. And I say, he's entitled to his opinion. You don't have to, but you don't have to sit up there and first act like one thing that people forget sometimes when they make fun of people dying is, hey, one day you're gonna die as well too. So I wouldn't sit up and act like you're immune to death and like it's gonna happen to any and everybody else and somehow you're gonna be spared. You're gonna die too. So sitting up here laughing about how he died and this and that or whatever, I didn't find a damn thing funny about that. Like I say, I didn't agree with everything the man said because I wasn't a fan of his, because I didn't listen to his stuff like that. A lot of stuff I heard about him was actually third party. So I didn't really listen to him live like that. At the same token or whatever, it's his opinion. He's entitled to it. And I felt like when I say hustle, that he found him a lane. He found him a niche. He had his, he had his followers and his listeners and stuff like that. He had women that listened to him and sat there and called in and everything else as well too. So that, I mean, if you can get,
I have a question.
Real quick. Hey, misengaging. Let me go ahead, bro. Don't cut me off. I'm gonna let you get up in here. So you got women sitting up here calling in and that was fans of him and everything else. And you had a bunch of women that agree with what he said as well. Not all of them, but you had a significant amount of women that agreed with him as well too. So, he was entitled to his opinion. And like I said, God rest the dead. I don't believe you should sit up here and just diss the man. He wasn't harming anybody per se, in terms of like going out doing stuff like that. So you don't have to call in, like Miss Giselle and them say. You don't have to listen. You don't have to go to his actual YouTube channel or whatever. Some of the stuff, like I said, if he made the comment about Black women being universally unattractive, then that's an issue right there. But like I say, he's dead now, so it's not exactly anything you could take up with him. If he said that Black women should be submissive like a dog, and this is what Vicki Dillard said on her actual channel. She was saying that, some of the things she agreed with some of the things that he said, but she had an issue also with some of the stuff he said as well, too. So I think that with anybody in life, that nobody's 100% right. So you can find something where, hey, you agree with somebody on, and then you can find something even you could be the biggest supporter of that person. Like, well, I kind of disagree with what that person's saying right there. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging.
I'm not really an avid fan of Kevin Samuel, but I'm kind of familiar from what I observed of his content before he passed. Like, I know that some of his overall message is that he wanted Black men and Black women to be together. That was some of the things that he promoted. That's what I observed. Some people might not like his approach because it might be hard. He's a man. So I ain't got no problems with no qualms with it like that. So I just feel like a lot of people over exaggerated because it was a Black man's opinion and they didn't want to hear what a Black man's opinion's like. Being in different arenas like post-secondary education, I had a Black woman and a white man that was co-signing bell hooks. So when you call that type of stuff out and then you get shut down by your own people, it gives rise to people like Kevin Samuel or that type of ideology, one would say. So, I think that it was more awareness that he was giving out more than anything. He wasn't making policies like Joe Biden who actually hurt our people. I hope that when Joe Biden's died, I hope that people celebrate like they did on Kevin Samuel's perspective. I want that same energy because Joe Biden actually did something to our people. Kevin Samuel was trying to inform our people. There's a difference.
Well, I'm sure when Joe Biden does pass away, you're gonna have a number of people that's gonna celebrate it. I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of people that's gonna celebrate his death. Some people will go ahead and they will act like he was this incredible president or whatever. But in your comment, I saw that you said you left something and you said so using data to inform the public is a hustle. Exactly what data did he use to inform just to educate me? What data did he use to inform
Okay, I'm glad that that you asked, like some of the data that he talked about was the abortion rates. That was some of the things that he complained about or was concerned about in his rhetoric that he had. He also brought up the fact of like that was one of his major concerns. He also brought up about how much the average man made and all that other stuff. That was some of the data that he also brought. Some of the other data that he was notably brought was divorce rate and how women was initiating these divorce rates, not men. So those were some of the big data crunches that he was using and when women were calling up to the show, they were arguing against the numbers and the logic that he was presenting. And they were doing that with emotion and respect. And that was just my observation.
About the abortion rate, what was he saying about the data with the abortions?
I don't know the specifics because, man, this is like 4 or 5 years ago. And like he had some really numbers from the CDC, and that's what he was using in his conversations. And that's what he was basing a lot of his rhetoric on.
Yeah, and I mean, we pretty much know that women file for divorce more than men do. I mean, that's a given. That most of the time, when a divorce is actually initiated, most of the time it's a woman that's actually filing for the divorce. That's pretty much always been the case.
So my question to you, Newstoter, is what's wrong with a man expressing his displeasure towards that? What's wrong with a man expressing his concerns about that? I don't think policies could hurt a relationship in a family. What's wrong with that?
I don't think it's nothing. Hold on. You asking me a question, so let me go ahead and answer. I don't think there's anything wrong with a man if he's talking about the actual data and showing like, hey, more women file for divorces than men. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as well, too. Like, why they're filing for divorce, we have to actually have the data on that as well, too, because I don't know why they're filing for a divorce. I mean, nobody would know unless it was in that actual relationship with that man and woman. Was that man, was that woman giving her all in that?
He brought up the irreconcilable.
Hold on.
That's what he brought up.
He brought up what?
Hey, well, hold on a second. Just to solve that answer right there. I mean, answer that question. They are unhappy. Henceforth, women got most of the divorce rates going on out. That was the answer, bro.
Okay, well, I mean, if it's simply unhappy, then yeah, he has a right to bring it up. He has a right. Listen, if he's pulling out raw data, he has a right to say that as well, too. So, but my thing is this right here: it takes two to tango. So, yeah, pull out the data about women and abortions, women and filing for divorces, and this and that as well, too. What data did he pull out misengaging about men and their part in the actual relationships as well, too, that made things maybe go sour?
Like that, I came in towards the end of Kevin Samuels, but I noticed that he did have, like, in his previous things, that he did, like, he was going hard about guys not working hard, guys not career options and stuff like that. But like, I don't know, like I came in towards the end of his career and his life, towards like, and when he was getting his most notoriety and all that other stuff. So that's what I observed at the time frame, and that was like every once in a blue moon. Like, I didn't really I just saw it like, oh, this is a good YouTuber. He got content that's popping, and everybody was gravitating towards it. So that's how I kind of took it. And I was just saying, hey, just brother, just got it going on at this time frame. So I didn't really come at it and took it any type of way on that level. But I noticed that women had platforms like dogging guys, using data, and a whole bunch of other things for a very long time socially on platforms, openly on platforms. They even talked about aborting black men, little baby boys, black boys. And everybody was kind of silent on that issue.
Hey, but we talked about it.
Wait. Hear me off, Newstoter. I know you talked about, I'm talking about the overall black collective, not just your space. I'm talking about the overall black community and how they respond on this. And this is the issue. You got to look at it much more bigger than this platform. I'm looking at the platforms that trash and tear down our black men. And this is the end result. This is why you have a black manosphere. This is why you have black guys huddled up and like working together and doing whatever they want to do. I'm not saying I agree to it or not, but I'm keen to it and understand that these brothers are hurting. And they have a right to express themselves no different from anybody else. I think we should be more tolerant. That's all I'm bringing across. But
The game,
who am I?
Just say the name. You're talking about Cynthia G. That's who you referring to, right?
But it's not just Cynthia G. It's also the women that like her platform. It's other women that share her platform. So it's a lot more. Yes, yeah, that's where I'm getting. That's where I'm getting.
Oh yeah, I know. Cynthia G is the head, but she's the head one, y'all. She's the one that gets most of the headline. But yeah, it's a lot of them out there. But Cynthia G is the one that gets the main headline.
Okay, hey, Professor, so run it back. Check it out. Cynthia G, right? She used to talk about Black relationships and how to bring people together. And then all of nowhere, she just started dogging us. So what the fuck happened, bro?
That Black boyfriend didn't give her well, let me put it that way. He didn't give it to her no more. That's what happened. Yeah. She was all about Black men. She was all about Black men, man.
See, it's much more, guys. It's much more than sex, man. I really think that.
No, that is what's wrong with her.
I think it's much more than just sex.
No, it is. It is. I'm just talking about Cynthia G. Cynthia G got mad because she wasn't getting that BBD anymore from her boyfriend. He left. I'm telling y'all what happened. The sister went nuts. He wasn't giving it to her anymore. He left her. She got pregnant by him. He left her. There you go. And she's been scorned ever since. Now the sisters are up here, Miss Giselle, and I see the disruptor right there.
Yeah,
I like to see what they have to say.
We got real quick. I'm gonna kick it to Tammy, but I'm like this right here, and I'm with you on this point because I've been saying, you know, for years you've had women have platforms, these daytime shows and stuff like that. I used to tell my dad all the time, like, what are these talk shows of you and this and that, other than the dog men out all damn day long? So I don't have an issue with that. My thing is if you're gonna dog one gender out, make sure you dogging the other one out as well too. Because if it's fault on the men's side, it's fault on the women's side as well too. If you got a platform, go ahead and use it. You have a right to what you say. I know on this platform. Oh, wait, hold on. Hey, Mr. Engaging, don't come off your mic and interrupt me, bro. I'll let you get the mic. You can put your thumb down, but I went ahead and let you talk too as a man. So show me that same respect. Straight up. But we was talking about Cynthia G making that little comment about aborting Black babies and trying to keep the Black male population in check and stuff like that. So we have gone on and we've rolled on a lot of these women that's went up here and dogged Black men and stuff like that. We rolled on Black men that dog Black men out as well and Black women as well too. So we pretty much give it as well as we get on this platform right here, just to be real. So I'm gonna let you go ahead real quick, Mr. Engage, and then I'm gonna let Tammy, go ahead.
Thing is that same question that you're posing to men on their platforms, do you pose to other women in their platforms? I don't think you do that in a fair scheme of things because you might be afraid of the backlash. People got to understand and be frank that some of the women in our community hold a lot of power and do things to disable our community. And I think we should be calling that out to make our community much more safer and much more productive. I don't think what Kevin Samuel was saying was wrong. He might have said it in the wrong context or whatever, and he might have said things that might have been displeasure to other people. But he did not go out and actually cause harm to our community. And there's real threats in our community, and we're not giving that same smoke to those real threats. And I'm standing on that. And you might not like my opinion, but that's what it is, man.
Well, that's straight up, bro. And you might not like my opinion, but as a man, I'm gonna tell you my opinion. So I mean, and you don't know exactly what I went against and what I've said about. So as a man, I'm letting you know. You have no idea what I've stood up against, or what female platforms I went against, or what news and stuff like that. Because in this space, we're curating topics and talking about stuff that a lot of these other spaces aren't talking about. So you're right. You're not in this space every night, Mr. Engaging. So you really don't know. I know you come in here sometimes and you support, but before you go ahead and you make a blank statement like that, I'm just going to go ahead and let you know you don't know. So nobody's scared to go ahead and put these people on blast. And we do that. We have more topics. We talk about more topics in this space than probably 10 of these other Twitter spaces at one time. But hold on. Nobody come off the mic. Because my man, he was pretty much telling me like how he's standing 10 toes down. I'm letting him know likewise over here, Kinfolk. I mean, we're not getting run down by women over here. We're not gonna bow down and scrape the women or men over here. If you want to be real, we're not no goddamn Democrat operatives, and we're not no Republican flunkies either. We men over here, and that's how we conduct ourselves. So before you go ahead and you make a blank statement like that, because me and you always been cool, but I'm gonna let you know, just like you saying, whether I respect you, whether that's your opinion or not. Well, this is my opinion, And I'm going to state it as a man. I'm letting you know. Nobody's afraid of these females. Nobody's afraid of these males either. And we damn sure ain't afraid of some YouTube celebrities or Twitter celebrities or Facebook celebrities or anything else. So like I say, just in terms of putting the content out there, we touching up on topics that vast majority of these people don't even talk about because they talk about and rehash the same stuff every goddamn night. So if you want to be real about that, you know, we touching up on a whole bunch of things that affect Black people. You know, it might not seem like that, but we talking about stuff nationally, locally, and globally that impact the lives of Black Americans every single solitary day. So I'm standing on that, kinfolk.
What I'm getting at is the Black community didn't have that spoke as a collective.
Well,
that's the problem. You see, I'm not talking about you and your platform. I'm talking about specifically our community and how we respond as a collective towards these situations. And you keep pointing to the platform. I'm pointing to the community. I'm talking about the community and how we engage with one another and what's going on with our relationships.
Well, bro, all we can do is all we can do as individuals is do what we can do as individuals. We can't control every single solitary move that every Black person in America does. What we can do is do our part to go ahead and put stuff out there, inform people, and let people know. You know, like I said, and I said it before and I said it again, Kevin Samuels, even though I did not agree with what he said all the time, he had a right to voice his opinion. You know, these other women, some of these women that we consider bed wenches, they have a right to voice their opinion. They have a right. That don't mean that they don't get blasted for their opinion, but they have a right because in America, you do have a right. I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is. So, you know, people can say what they want to say. And like I say, I can't control every single solitary thing that Black people, nobody in here, you can't control it. Nobody in this space can control every single solitary thing that other Black people do. But we do go ahead and we do talk politically. We talk news. We talk culturally. We talk all this and that. That's up to other Black people to go ahead and take the and take the baton and run with it as well too. We can't hold your hand and make you do something that you don't want to do. You know, a lot of times we're talking about issues and stuff like that we may have a small crowd in here because people say, well, you know, that's too news centric. That's too this and that. I don't want to talk about it. It ain't enough drama. It ain't enough BS going on or whatever. So no, we'll stay out of that. We don't want to hear that. So listen, people going to do what they want to do. Like I say, I can only control what I do. You can only control what you do. We can go ahead and we can have these spaces. We can tweet content out, this and that. Topics and news that's relevant all throughout the country that we post in all single solitary day. You yourself know that when you had an article and you wanted it published on Newstoter, I told you go ahead and send it to me and put it out there. Simple as that. So I mean, all other stuff that other Black people do, I'm an individual. I can't impact. If I could impact the life of every Black person in America, I would. But I don't have that kind of power. The platform's not big enough at this point either to do that. But we're slowly building it, and that's all we can do.
I was just more or less bringing back shaming. That's what I was more or less getting at. There's certain behavior in our community that is detrimental. And I feel like Kevin Samuel was bringing notice to that and also bringing back the game of shaming, saying like, yo, this behavior is not wanted. This behavior should be acceptable. The same way you have the women in the Waffle House. The same way you have certain incidents that happen at the airport. When that sister, that actress lady that called out our sisters that were looking horrible at the airport. Like, there used to be a time where Black women had a pride about themselves. And it's not a diss. The same thing with our brothers. But this time, it just happens to fall on our sisters this time. You got to take the good with the bad. And I feel like our community is running away from this issue, and we should be addressing it head on. And that's just my thing.
You sound like you dissing all the Black women, man. That's how you coming off, dude. You coming off like this.
Well, hold on, because just like we have issues like, and I feel what you're saying, Mr. Engaging, about the women coming out with the bonnets on, and the women got hot curlers on their heads and stuff. And it was a time that women did come out and they presented themselves, and they seemed to have more class and cared about themselves. But the same could be said for Black men. It was a time you weren't going to see Black men with their damn pants falling off their ass and coming out like they didn't even fucking comb their hair, or sitting up here just looking like a complete slob, that they had pride in themselves. Look at the clips look at some of these pictures from the 50s and 60s and see how Black people, how kids used to go outside and how they was dressed up, and look at them now. So I'm with you. Yeah. there is some shaming that needs to go on, but that's for that's both genders. That's for the man and the woman. It ain't just solely just the black women. You got black men just as ridiculous out here as black women, just as ridiculous.
It's only a small percentage of both genders that's in that demographic. It ain't the whole black community. It's just a specific number of us.
We understand that.
Kevin, and that's what Kevin Samuel was bringing out. And that's why a lot of women were pissed off, because they were saying, well, they're having sex with the same guys. And this is the data that Kevin Samuel was bringing up. I'm not
80-20 rule.
Yeah, I'm not calling shots. I'm not dissing. This is what the man was bringing up, and that's what a lot of people had a frustration about. Hey, don't get mad at the numbers. Do something about it. Am I wrong to say it like that, man?
No, I mean, and like I said before, because you entitled to your opinion. No, you're not wrong to say. If that's what you feel, I'm with you. I get what you're saying. I'm saying that both people are at fault. That's what I'm saying. He was right saying that about black, and he said it about black men and black women apparently as well too. So my thing is that when people just try to, and I don't play the divide game. I don't say, well, it's all black men's fault. You know, black men, if they would be a father to their kids, and if black men would go out and work hard, and the black men would do this. Well, no, it's black women's fault. All they do is lay on their ass and have kid after kid and have baby after baby from different men. And this, no, man, it's a community effort. It's gonna take both parties to get their shit together to pull this race up to where it needs to be. And like DJ said, it's not all black men. Most black men that I know work their ass off. Most black women I know, they work their ass off. You know, most black men ain't sitting up here smoking crack. And most black women ain't sitting in their house all day collecting food stamp, got 7-8 different baby daddies and all this other shit that the media wants to portray. So no, it's not, like you say, it's a percentage of black people, just like it's a percentage of poor white trash that live in trailer parks, that smoke meth and everything else. But people don't talk about that. It's only black people. Like black people are only the most jacked up people in America or on earth. Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead. I'm get back to you, Mr. Engaging. Go ahead, Tammy. And I know Ms. Giselle, y'all got your hands up as well. Go ahead, Tammy.
I think if you have listened to me talk anytime, stop trusting these statistics from the government, especially from the Centers for Disease Control and Health and Human Services. They do not give a fuck about black people, y'all. They minimize, twist. They don't like us. Now, I've been going over this Tuskegee syphilis experiment. They try to make it seem like it was a volunteer position, and it was not. If you haven't heard of it, go look at it. Y'all, please. And I said that because I think Mr. Engagement said something about statistics. But they disrespect us, and we're going to have to start studying so we can pick it out. The other thing with statistics and this abortion issue, y'all, if you really think black women had more abortions than white women, you want to know why we don't know? Because they call it a DNC, or they do get it done at their family doctor who don't report it, or they get it done in the home. They have so many more resources than black women could ever have. And if it was only for 1 year. Please don't narrate important information like that. Just go look it up yourself. It's very, very easy. Plus, Planned Parenthood did more services than just abortions. They want to make it seem like you just got abortion. They took care of me my whole college matriculation. That's why I went, because it was affordable. There was one more thing, but I think I'm fatigued. I'm feeling better, but I'm gonna have to rest for a second. I got another thing to say though about Kevin Samuels and women.
Well, you say
one thing that hurts me that seems weaponized when you say you a feminist. Okay, just because I make a comment that empowers me, don't make me a feminist. But it was weaponized, right? The other thing is, one more thing. Honey, we had it out in here, the men against the women, and we all left. Did we not, y'all? We got together. It wasn't long ago.
You done, Tammy?
I forgot what that was, Tammy, but yeah, you're right.
Go ahead, Ms. Giselle.
Okay. So I'm highlight a few things because, again, I really want our people to heal. I really want our people to win. What we do right now, we're passing it to the next generation, and I really don't want our people to continue this, like fixing the same crap for each generation to come. So, to be honest, if we go back, we talk about disrespect and like where did it all fall apart. You look at the 90s when they dropped hip hop music. I know certain language was used privately, but females was bees, and it was specific to us, and it was amplified because that's what they wanted to be projected for our people to kind of assimilate and normalize. It was said at first back in the day. I remember growing up, and people still wouldn't cuss in front of their elders on the MTA, and that's back in the 90s. So, and what I mean by the MTA is like the bus systems or out in public in general. There was still a certain level of respect that people had for each other. You turn on the music, they ushered in the toxicity. They were saying, hey, add a couple of more of those B words. And then those songs tended to be the ones that's pushed on the media. And then you wanted to buy the real album because you wanted to hear the real words. So everybody's listening to it, saying the real words. You're chanting this stuff, and we're bringing it into our reality. Snoop Dogg even said it himself. He started watching the words that he would put in his music because of the power in those words. Is you speak things into reality. You go to when it was inserting the B words. You go to when Snoop Dogg himself had women on chains crawling into the hip hop awards, the Source Awards back in the 90s. And you look at when we go into when they would put us on the magazines back in the day, we used to have this beautiful feminine quality to us. But then they had to make us hard. It was like this is how they were able to do this crossover with us. So it wasn't women just, now it's just your turn. No, they was doing a lot of things to us at one time, just like they're doing right now. And the less that we recognize it, the more we just keep dealing with the same. The Band-Aid on the crap that we. So you go to what's putting on the big magazines. You saw Little Kim, the weave all down the back. Thing we would do the weave for prom maybe, and graduation or weddings. It wasn't all of that, sure, and that was okay too. So it was like a respectability. We had a different image with us. We had a respect line. They ushered in things like reality shows to dictate how to look because they first dated a man, and it had to be the ugliest man on the planet. Flavor Flav. No offense. But yeah, but these are the shows, and then people, the women that were getting picked, they was getting chosen with a weaved out, had all of the eyelashes, had all of the long nails, and then you started to see this reflect in society, and you saw less of us. You saw less of us and more of everybody else. So we were fighting over the scarcity of us that was getting highlighted for those positions. We was fighting over that. So everybody was trying to live up to this image, and now here we have it. The same person that was rejected when you go back to the first Friday is the most chosen today. And that's how they flipped the script on us. They used 50 billion different things with us. And then what did they do? The master of deception. They got us blaming each other for it. And to a certain degree, because we didn't see it coming, of course, yeah, it's our fault. We didn't see it coming, right? It's our fault. With all of the other crap that's going on, I get it. But because now that we recognize it, now we can address it. We get back and forth into this, we was right, it's your turn now type of back at you. We don't have time for that. This is why we can't get past stuff because it's always the I got you moment or I'm going to figure this out better than you will. It's not going to, we're not going to fix the family dynamics like that. And not all, again, relationships, it is what it is. Now, when you talk about the bonnets, let's go there. Because you look at the people that's bringing it in, that was a lot of stuff done when you was coming from the braiding salons. And a lot of those people used to rock that. If you want to keep it real, When we would go to the hair salons, we would do that. For so long, Black American women couldn't even wear our regular fucking hair to the hair salon.
Come on with that. Didn't know what natural hair was.
We had to press our hair to go into a normal job where all you had to do was get a haircut. And even then, for Black men, they were forced to get their haircuts a certain way to assimilate, but it was more work for us because we had to get our hair done, and it had to be done every other week. We couldn't go to school, work with an afro at a bank. You couldn't go to work with color. Now they accept anything. So long story short, it's a lot of different dynamics and issues that got us to this point. Where do we go from here? How can we heal each other from here? Because if we keep looking back at all of the pain and just soaking in that pain, that's all we're ever going to have. That's what we're going to produce. It's what our kids are going to take on. It's what their kids are going to take on as long as we exist. Because nobody's going to respect us if we keep allowing these people to force us to our lowest level of existence. And I'm not saying this ain't a fight on Black men. I love Black men. I have 2 sons. All of them in the room driving me crazy right now because they are loud and they're playing Jenga, mind you. But they're doing their thing. But I'm raising 2 Black boys. Well, one is a man now. And then I got a Black boy. And I'm raising a beautiful Black girl. And I want them to love on themselves. And I don't want them to settle for other things. But we have to create that reality. Otherwise, we're going to get more of the same. And I'm going to land with that.
All righty. Wait, hold on real quick, Tammy. Because I know DJ, he may let you go ahead, but I know DJ had his hand up.
Okay, it's added on to the back of her comment.
Let's disrupt real quick. Go ahead, spit your bars, Tammy.
So the only thing I was saying, we didn't know what natural hair was. We either got perms at a very young age, then curls came out. We didn't know who we was. We thought we were supposed to be straight, and that straightening comb. And I would love for Black men to just go back and just get to know us, get to know what we went through as a woman trying to compete, even though we didn't know we didn't have to, with white women, right?
We already know that. Okay. We already know that. Go ahead.
Oh, you made me forget my second statement. Damn it. But we love y'all. I love me a Black man. Shit.
Oh, I love you too, Black woman.
We love you too, disruptor.
Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Well, we get on each other's nerves. That's why we got a love-hate relationship. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging.
I was gonna let DJ go first, but if that's okay with you first,
Go ahead, bro.
All right. One of the things I threw out purposely the CDC first, but Kevin Samuel was also using data from Black data collection agencies as well when he was disputing that because he really cared about the community.
Hey, Mr. Engaging, real quick. Hey, all while listening in the background, I told you all I'll say it again, Mr. Engaging. Where you get that data from?
From Black data collection agencies, and he was using those in his dispute. That was the reason why I led off with the CDC.
I want my $20.
So I led off with the CDC first because I wanted to see everybody's reaction, and then I wanted to let you know that he also used Black data agencies because he wanted to dispute these things because he cared about what was going on in our community. And I feel like people are throwing away and being dismissive and throwing other things in the way of a real serious conversation. So when data and facts get tossed away, they throw in emotions and other things to derail a much needed conversation.
Exactly. What data was what was the data looking like, Mr. Engaging?
I don't, man, this is like 4 or 5 years ago, man. He went over these things. He bantered about it. I listened to him on and off. I thought he was a decent guy to me. I just thought it was a Black man with his opinion, and he had a right to say it. And I felt like other people didn't like what he had to say, and they'd rather see him dead versus other people who actually pose harm to our community. And that's what the problem is. Where's the smoke for Emmett Till's killers? Where's the smoke for Joe Biden? Where's the smoke for Kamala Harris? See, like, people will vote for them, and that's why I said some of these conversations with some of these people is disingenuous. So, like, that's what I'm just gonna leave it as.
Alrighty. Who was next? I guess Tammy, you next.
So let me say, I don't know if you all remember this statement. I think it was J.R. Hughes where he said, the most dangerous thing in America is black unity, black people coming together. Black people really, we I say this all the time. We love to discuss the details before we even get the prize. We can go look at the building, but we too busy wondering who gonna get the biggest off. Instead of we got the building. And I want us, if we came together, they wouldn't be able to stop us. They wouldn't. But y'all gotta realize, I came up in the 90s, which was a change coming, but you didn't really know. They so sneaky, y'all. I don't believe anything the government ever could tell me. They do it. And you blaming the government. Hell yeah! I don't have no power. I don't have power to change nothing. I know you put me in the school, then you try to segregate me, then you brought me back. It's just so much that has been done. And Mr. Engagement, I thought I heard you say it's not trauma. It is trauma. Now, how much you willing to take is on you. But we have trauma that's directly related to the government's mistreatment of us and our family.
All right, real quick. I see Ray. I see you done came back up in here, man. I don't know how many times you done lost connection in this space, but I'm glad to have you back up in the co-host spot. Y'all, don't forget, guys, if you can, please donate to us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black American-owned news media curation platform today in America. Once again, that is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you don't have Cash App, the Venmo and PayPal is up in the Jumbotron. Let's go, Miss Giselle. Then we go Mr. Engaging real quick. Ray, I know you've been in and out. Did you want to add something real quick before you lose connection again? I don't know. Is Ray there? Is he in the Matrix? He just got a new phone. He just got a new phone. So, like, he just got a new phone. So it ain't the phone, man. Like, damn. Ray, when you hear us, man, come back though. Miss Giselle, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes. And to be clear, Mr. Engagement, when you were talking about Kevin Samuels, I was actually in a space with, it was sisters and brothers who actually held the space to counter those conversations. So you asked where that support was. We were actually, this is why a couple of the videos, just to have some context as to what his platform was about, and we were countering that conversation. So don't think that people, like, I'm not just saying this, but it wasn't everybody bashing him, but those were the platforms that were amplified because that's what the media likes. They get a couple of celebrities to say some stuff, publicize it, and they made it all like something. It was media content for them to leech off of from our community once again, just to show how divisive we can be in our spaces, and look at the vitriol Black women had for Black men and all of that. So the key is, when you see these things, we just counter it with other things that's more progressive, other things that help to push us forward. We just need more than 10 people. It's one thing if we're getting together in groups doing it, but if that's something that you stand on, you could have held the space saying, hey, Black American women and men united, we're going to come together, we're going to pay some respects. We never want to see somebody die. That's something that you can do. We actually did that. And to be honest, it was really, it really was a messed up thing that the man died. I would never, ever be excited or cheer on the loss of life of anybody. That's just pathetic to even think that every Black woman, or the majority of Black women, were doing that. So those women who did that, that's stuff that they're gonna have to own, because karma is real. But for like people that I don't rock like that, and even in my worst enemy, I ain't gonna wish death on them. So for in that case, like I think that it sounds like you talk about things that disingenuous and things, but we have to be honest with stuff also. If you want to make a change, you do it. You do it together. I don't like the fact, or you do it, you create the space for it and have people come to it. Hey, we want to pay respects. Right now, you could be paying respects to Kevin Samuels every month, posting a space on Twitter, Clubhouse, or whatever platform you choose. You could be doing that. If that bothered you that much, that might be something you need to open up the doors to. You're more than welcome. I'm sure people will come into the space with you. But you can't just kind of like dump everything on like just certain groups. And I'm not saying you're only doing that. I don't know. I just don't like that mentality to think that we would actually all wish death on that man, because I definitely did.
Real quick, let me give a shout out to Mr.
My response, since she called me out, I want to respond to this.
Hold on,
right
real
now.
quick. I'm gonna give you a shout out for your contribution.
No, hold the shout out, because I want to respond respectfully.
Hey, you'll respond after I give you the shout out. This is my thanks given to you. Thank you for donating on Cash App. So now, Mr. Engaging, you can go ahead and you can respond.
Okay, first of all, like, I'm a man, I'm a leader. So why are you telling me as a woman what I can or cannot do and what I should and should not do? That is the problem right there, and the disrespect, miss. I don't even know you from a can of paint, and you're coming at me like that. And that's not even cool. So, like, that's some of the problem, the disrespect that goes on with each other that should be checked, but it never goes unchecked.
Yeah,
so that's the first.
She was coming at you, bro. I think she just talking.
No, she was coming at me. She was coming at me, and she said my name.
Hey, bro, you're too goddamn sensitive, Mr. Engage.
No, now you know.
All right, I don't think Miss Giselle was coming at you. We're all talking in context, so you got to get it same. You got to take your own talking points, Mr. Engager. We just talking in context, bro. But go ahead, just let's not get into argument.
She said my name. She said my name.
She's not talking to you in a way like disrespectful, bro. That's all I'm saying.
How are you gonna tell me what's disrespectful? How are you gonna speak for me and tell me what is?
She makes suggestions, Sam.
Okay, real quick, everybody. Let's not come off the mic. I know everybody's kind of getting a little bit heated now, so let's not come off the mic. Let's just kind of chill. Mr. Engaging, Miss Giselle, I just know her from the Twitter spaces. She's a pretty mellow lady. I don't think she meant anything disrespectful by it. You can go ahead and address it. So, I mean, just so you know, I don't believe the sister meant anything disrespectful. That's my personal opinion. I think she was just addressing what you're saying. So let's go ahead. Let's keep up a little bit of level of discipline up in the space, everybody. Let me give a shout out to Dana. Thank you, Dana, for your contribution on Cash App. I'm going to go ahead and let you address it, Mr. Engage. And nobody, listen to me, y'all. Nobody come off your microphone. If you want to speak, raise your hand. We're going to go Mr. Engaging. Then we're going to go Miss Eddings, and then we'll get to you, Miss Giselle. So go ahead, Professor. So you got your hand up as well too, Tammy. Let's go ahead, y'all. We've been having a pretty good space. I know it's been a little heated at times, because I've been kind of got a little heated at times too, but let's just remember, like, this is just a conversation we're having. Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic.
The only reason why I came at it that way is because she put my name in that context. So I have a right to feel however I should choose to on that. And I feel like, again, other people are dictating how I should feel. And that's the same thing that they did to Kevin Samuels. They're not giving anybody any consideration about how they might feel about a certain situation. And on top of that, when they back it up with facts and data, now they want to get in their feelings about it instead of trying to come up with solutions that are actually tangible. And that's what happens when you have real black men in leadership versus women in leadership. It's not a whole entire diss, but we need women to be supportive and actually back men when they actually do this, instead of trying to snake us and trying to compete against us. And that's the problem. That's what I see.
Yeah,
Hey, I just told you, Tammy, don't come off your mic. Go ahead and let him finish, because then when you go off your mic, then you cut the next person in line, who's Miss Eddings. Okay, we're going to get to Miss Eddings because we got some new speakers. I want Miss Eddings. I want Dana and I want Casey up next, and then we'll get to Miss Giselle and Professor. So we got some new speakers in here. Do not come off your mic, okay? Whoever comes off the mic, hold on, DJ. Whoever comes off the mic.
I was just gonna say KC been sitting in the cup for a minute, man.
Okay, yeah. So let's get Miss. That's why I say Miss Eddings and then Casey. Miss Eddings, but Casey just raised his hand, but Miss Eddings had her hand up. So we're gonna get to Miss Eddings, Casey, and then we're gonna get to Dana, and we're gonna get to Miss Giselle and Professor, and we'll get to you too, Tammy. So let's go ahead and try to keep the order of things. Don't come off your mic, because if somebody comes off the mic, I'm gonna drop their ass down the list. Now I'm not gonna sit up here and babysit tonight, straight up. Okay, Mr. Engaging, are you finished making your point? Because we go ahead and get to the new speak.
I'll finish it up. The long and short of it, what I'm saying is, it's going to be men that's going to be taking the risk of what's going on here. And I think that we should be more attentive about what other men are saying about it versus other people who might not be going to take the frontline risk on these things. And that's what's been going on. You have other people with their opinions that are not going to take the front line on some of these issues and things, and they're getting away with other people who will take the front line issue on those things. That's the problem, and that's what natural selection is. It's not a shot. It's just right now the world is getting more serious and more dangerous, and we don't want other black women in the way when there's some real stuff going down. It's nothing personal, but it's getting serious, and that's how I'm leaving it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Engaging. Let's go ahead and go to Miss Eddings. Miss Eddings, how you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter. Hey, shout out to.
How you doing, Miss Eddings? How you doing?
Hey, hi, family. So Kevin Samuels, listen, Mr. Engagement, if you open up a space, sir, to talk about Kevin Samuels, I will come. Okay. I'm saying, listen. So this is my perspective. I was really heavy into Kevin Samuels. As a matter of fact, I think what he did for me was reminded me of who I am, my place, what I was supposed to do for the black man, what I was supposed to do for the community. I was in those secret spaces with him, like not the ones that you all see, on YouTube. He had like these other certain spaces, on Patreon. So I was with him on a more like intimate setting, like with a group of other people. And honestly, I will say this: I have 3 boys. I love black men, but there were some things that I know that I realized that I was doing, that I had to have a come to Jesus moment. And I think for some women out there who were like, I'm tired of what's going on, I'm tired, and they went and they listened to him or whatever, they chew the meat, spit the bone, shout outs to them, because shout out to me too, and I'm going to pat myself on the back. I got in the game. I mean, I wear my hair natural. I paint my own nails. Because I know black men. I used to listen to my dad, like, oh, that's your crown. Don't cut your crown. Yeah, I don't do any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I love black men, but I need my sons to see me in a natural form so that they want a natural black American woman. So the things that Kevin Samuels said and did, I know my place. I know I'm supposed to be behind them, helping them to know what real black woman is supposed to be like. Y'all, Kevin Samuels was such a godsend, and he just really, really reminded me of some of the fundamental things that I learned growing up, especially like watching my dad or watching my mom, or my mom. She did, like, she would go and have a college class, but she was there. She was taking care of us. She helped us with homework. My pops was a provider. So the things that he focused on, even though it might have been some old school, but it really was a quite of a nurturing task for somebody like me. But I want to say this, you all, before, like, some people like want to just say some stuff, or I think it's a really good idea to really go in depth and listen to a lot of his content. Like, just not a little, but a lot. Because I think he would have like such a way better, more understanding of what he was trying to do. Yes, he was trying to have black women. His whole message, honestly, was you got to be out there, you got to compete. Because I will say this, for a long time, I thought I had to be super hard. I come up in the whole hip hop. I'm TLC, wearing my clothes, backwards. That's the era I come up in, and Queen Latifah, like this, rough and tough with my album. I'm, you know what I'm saying? That's me. Yeah. But I had to let it go. I mean, the whole Black Girl Magic thing to me, and don't get me wrong, I was kind of into it too, but what it does, it makes black women feel like they're more than black men. And so his whole thing was, I don't need no man and all that stuff. And I'm just going to be real. It's too many of us out here disrespecting black men. I see it all the time. I see it on the app. Not for me to hear somebody or be on this app in a space where some woman is cussing some dude out or arguing on this. That's not how we are. That's not how we're even made. Like, you got to think of where we come from, and I want to reestablish that so that we can have more black love. Because that's what it's about, especially more black American love. Get out there and us women, us black women, let's go out here and show. I don't care how many times these chicks get out of line and do what they do. I still pull them to the side. I still say, look, sweetie, give them a little advice. I still, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, all right. But then again, when they see me and they see how I am and they watch the respect, I get the door open for me. You feel me? Like, I get certain things and I learned so, like, y'all, I'm telling you, Kevin said it was such a godsend. I land. Thank you all for letting me speak. And if I apologize to women, I don't know what to say, but I will say this: black men, especially black men in America, we have got to get them back. We've got to this passport shit. Excuse me for cursing. This whole they need a Latino or white woman. No. We have to get our men back and show them that we love them and show them all that what they're asking us, we're not doing. So we need to start doing it. And I land. Thank you.
All right, Miss Edens. Miss Edens came in here and she dropped the bomb up in here. So thank you, Miss Edens, for coming into the space and sharing your opinion tonight. I definitely appreciate that. Got to get to my man Casey. Casey, it's been like forever and a day since you've been up in the space and you spoke. What's going on? I know you've been on YouTube listening, but what's up, man?
Woo-wee. Everybody just take a breath, go back to your corners, towel off, brush off, because that was ugly. But yeah, greetings, Tota, been forever. Greetings, everybody in the chat. Be one to all of you. But I just got to call cap on a few things. And this is just me. It's my opinion. Take it as you want. Mr. Engage, and the one thing I'll say to you, brother, data is skewed. Regardless of whether you get it from the CDC or the Newstoter channel, or whether you get it from ABC, it's always skewed to show a narrative because that's what it's created for. The only thing that I will say, though, about statistics is as much of the lie as there is, there's always a kernel of truth in it, and that's facts. Secondly, I don't know much about Kevin Samuels. I know what I've heard about him. I've heard what TBA has said about him. I've heard about what Professor Black Truth has said about him. I've heard about what Tariq said about him. I've heard what other folks have said about him. He was a how should we say? He was a challenged man. But I'll give him this one thing. In death and in life, Kevin did one thing right. And he got everybody to shut up and actually start talking instead of yelling at each other. He got us to start thinking about some of the things that we hadn't. Because let's be honest, for 40 years we've had nothing but just black girl magic, black girl magic, black girl magic, black girl magic shoved down our throat. And he said, hey, you know what? We men, we got a voice too. And we ain't liking a lot of things we're seeing at all. And unfortunately, because the way the media is set up, especially mainstream white media, let's call it, all they want to do is divide. So therefore, if they just sit there and they just say, black women good, black women good, black women good, black women good, and black men are bad, that's what they wanted to do. And unfortunately, it worked. You know, and just also saying, I'm calling cap on the whole, oh, well, it was all, you know, what's going on in the 90s and the music and the bitches and the hoes and the this and the that and the other and women were being disrespected. I'm calling cap on that. And I'm going to call major cap simply for this. As a black man, during that time, as a young black man, I heard all the bitches, I heard all the hoes, I heard all the this, I saw the women running around in thongs and the G-strings and the this and the that and the other. And I said, hey, sister, you ain't got to do that. In fact, you're making yourself look worse. And you know what my response was? You ain't talking about me, and kept right along dancing. And so I'm like, now, how is it in one breath you're going to sit here and ask me to respect you? You're going to ask me to respect your accomplishments, your achievements, your educational goals, the things that you're doing in your life, but yet you're going to bump and grind your behind to some of the most misogynistic music ever. So I said, okay, to heck with it. And now here we are 30 years later, and I'm hearing nothing but, men don't take us seriously. We're being disrespected. Well, we tried to tell you different. And as far as the hair thing is concerned, look, I had a mom. I've got 6 sisters. One thing I'll tell you, they didn't have to put that weave stuff in their hair at all, because they were going natural way back in the 60s. Black women were natural back in the 70s. Somewhere along in the 80s, here comes the blowout. Here comes the, we got to get the S curl and we got to get the Jerry curl and the this and the that and the third, and it just ran rampant. So all I'm going to say is, if we're going to have a lot of this stuff fixed between us, first thing we got to do is stop yelling at each other. Nothing gets accomplished that way. Nothing. If one person's yelling and the other person's yelling, ain't nobody listening. And if nobody's listening, the problems never get solved. Whether they're big problems or small problems, problems just continue to go and they continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger until an explosion. The next thing is, whether you like it or not, lady, I'm sorry, I forget your name. Please forgive me for doing so. But he's right. He's a man. Don't tell him what to do. That's our job as the men inside of this sphere. If he's off code, if he's out of pocket, that's our job to correct him. But by the same token, if a woman is out of pocket, that's y'all's job to correct. And therefore, if we start doing that, maybe we can actually start getting things fixed. That's all I got to say, and I'll land there.
All right, Casey, appreciate it. Like I say, it's been a hot minute since you've been up in the space. I know you listen on YouTube, but I'm glad to have you back up in here. So I appreciate you tonight, bro. Let's go ahead and get to Dana. Dana, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how are you? So before I say what I want to say, I want to ask you, Newstoter, because I came in, I think at the 10 o'clock hour. So I didn't catch you when you started. Did Vicki Dillard come on?
Yeah, she came on. She only stayed for 30 minutes because she had something to do as well. So she came on. She left maybe around by 8:30.
Okay, so I missed that one.
Yeah.
And then now the conversation is Kevin Samuels, correct?
Well, we was talking about the because you had this article CBS published, and it was talking about the ban, some additives that they had in the banned food and stuff that's over here in America that they're allowing in America, but that they ban in Europe. So we talked about that, and we just started talking about a number of topics. And I mentioned something Vicki Dillard said about Kevin Samuels, that Kevin Samuels once said that black women were universally the most unattractive women, and that black women should be submissive as dogs, and pretty much like submissive as a dog, and that pretty much just like just kind of escalated everything. So
Okay, I didn't know he said that, even though that's not true. But I do want to comment on the Kevin Samuels thing, but I also want to bring into this discussion is the fact that
he didn't say it. He was reading context from an article.
Okay, whatever. But I wanted to bring context because, you know, it seemed like whenever the conversation on the name of Kevin Samuels come up, you know, it does pique everybody's interest. And for me, being a content creator, you know, like many others, I would say this, that he was a brilliant marketer and, you know, he cracked the algorithm code. He was a brilliant at branding himself and he brought good entertainment. Yes, he made people start thinking, particularly women, whether they were upset or just like the other woman said, he made me look within myself. And that's good on that aspect, you know, because his main focus was around women, particularly Black women. But if you needed his guidance, hey, you know, to each his own. I personally didn't. But does he have a contribution to Black America? I think absolutely not for me. And today is the day, February 21st, the assassination of Malcolm X 58 years ago. And I haven't heard much of that discussion in any Twitter space. I just did a Twitter space Monday, me and a judge, and we was talking about the Ohio and some other stuff. But I talked about that on my YouTube show today, Malcolm X assassination, and I'm going to go into more details on Thursday. And this is Black History Month. And, you know, I think the focus need to move away from quote unquote relationships, because that does sound pathetic as adults that we're arguing back and forth about relationships. Black women aren't doing this, Black men aren't doing that. But if you start focusing on what's more important in a relationship, well, it's economics. It's improving where you live at. And yes, men should be the leader of the community and leader of the household. But it's not a woman's position to put you there. You put yourself there. You do what you got to do. When you focus on doing what you have to do, if everybody focus on their role first, then everything else is going to fall into line. So it does disturb me to hear men complaining about women. Why are you complaining about women so much? Because if you want your purpose, you're not going to complain about a woman. And when it's time for you to choose, because you want your purpose, it's easy for you to choose the right woman for you. And you're going to have a whole line of women wanting to be chosen. So why are you going back and forth, or you want to dictate Kevin and Samuel's talking points because you so bothered about what Black women are doing or not doing? Focus on your purpose. And I don't see that. He was a great content creator, and you can't take that away from him. He entertained people. That's it. If he made you think, fine. If he made you look within yourself to improve yourself, fine. He wasn't a licensed therapist. He wasn't a licensed relationship expert, but he knew how to brand and market himself. That's it. So I'm not going to sit up here and argue with another man or even a woman over a man who did not do anything to advance Black people. And that's all for now. So I'll mute up.
All right, Dana. And just let me add this point here. My man Professor did come into the space, and he actually did talk about Malcolm X being assassinated, that this was the day as well too. So shout out to Professor. He actually spoke on that. Like I say, the space was because Vicki she was only going to be here for a short time. I wanted to talk about the actual the deadly effect of what some of the food that was being brought here in America, allowed by the FDA. So we talked about that, and we just kind of just pretty much been freestyling, and we got on that point there with Kevin Samuels, because we was talking about a number of things, and we talked about
Right,
Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, the conversation evolved. So that's why I'm just asking you what was said in the beginning, because I came in late.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just feel like whenever the name Kevin Samuels come up, people get very emotional, and it's like you're emotional with Kevin Samuels, but you don't get emotional for Malcolm X or people like Malcolm X or people that are doing, you know what I'm saying, something positive for the advancement of Black people.
Oh, no, well, I can't much argue with that. We definitely, like I said, we talked about a number of different things as well too. So, definitely glad to have you in here, Dana. Let me go ahead, Judge Sarah. I know you were saying you was asking if we had kicked you out to space, but no, I didn't kick you out to space. You may be having some technical issues, so go ahead. I know you had your hand up and then you dropped down a couple times, but go ahead and unmute your mic. Are you there, Judge Sarah? Can you hear me, Judge Sarah?
Twitter space has been acting up, bro. I've been kicked out like 5 times.
You've been kicked out more than that because I see you constantly coming back and forth. Like you've been kicked out a minute. Judge Sarah, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you, Judge Sarah. You can. Oh, we lost her again. So yeah.
That's a higher power kicking her out. That's a higher power.
Let me go ahead and let's get to Miss. Let's get to Miss Giselle. Then we're gonna get to actually, let me get to because we got my girl Goddess up in here. Goddess hadn't had a chance to speak. Goddess, she does a lot of work with the Emmett Till, actually following Kellen Bryan around. So let's see what latest thing she has. How you doing tonight, Goddess?
Hey, how y'all doing? I think I want to speak to something she said real quick about Kevin Samuels. It doesn't bother me about what he said, because when it comes to those modern day women he was speaking about, he is telling the truth. If you feel that you're that modern day woman, then hey, that's on you. I'm not that modern day woman, so he wasn't speaking to me. But anyway, moving on. Emmett Till. We went to DC this past week. The Emmett Till, if you see if you can see the picture there, I'm standing beside his cousin. We all went to DC. President Biden, what's her name? Miss Lance Bottoms, her ass was there. They watched till the question was asked to him whether he is going to do anything in reference to, stepping in to see about her being arrested. He said he could not, in his position, he can speak to those in the Justice Department and about that is looking into getting her. We're not just leaving that there. We also did go over to the Justice Department ourselves, but the people that we went there to see were not in session, so we are going back. But we already went around to different states, so the last stop is Washington, and that's why we're there. But I just wanted y'all to know that part. It was a success as far as what we went to do. We were able to at least allow them to see they knew what happened anyway, but to have them to see the movie and to revitalize in their brain that we are not going anywhere, that this woman is still breathing and she needs to be arrested, to be able to bring that to the White House. I ain't gonna get upset, a little misty-eyed. It just, to me,
Get upset, baby.
in a million years, I would have never believed, out of all the things that I was trying to do last year, that I would end up in D.C. I take that word out, getting this warrant served on this woman. And y'all just don't know this feeling that I have. I also will be interviewed tomorrow on a radio station. So,
You breaking up, babe.
No, she's not breaking up. She's just having a hard time because she's dealing with a lot of emotion because this sister is taking her own dime and she's traveling all around the country trying to bring justice. So this has been a long journey for her and she's put a lot into it. So you have to tip your cap to her because she's really devoted her life to this right here. So Goddess, we just glad to have you up in the space. It's been a minute. and just keep doing what you're doing, sister. I know it's got to be that it's got to take a toll on you, and we appreciate all your efforts and everything that you're doing. So everybody needs to give her a shout out in this space as well too, because she's been on the hunt. She really has.
I didn't know she was speaking it tomorrow. Being interviewed, getting her phone out.
Oh, I was saying that I am going to be interviewed on it's a Black radio station, of course. So tomorrow, it is actually dealing with another one of our brothers that was murdered in Mississippi. His last name his name is Michael Corey Jenkins. We will be speaking about his murder. That they actually are already on the ground there in Mississippi. We're also dealing with him as far as it's just a whole lot of stuff, that's going on besides, enmity, so much that we're dealing with, and we need a lot more of me out here because there's so much stuff that's going on that we need boots on the ground. As far as us speaking, somebody's, was said to me, what am I going to do besides speaking in this space? And I'm using my piece that I was using in these spaces, and I'm putting my boots on the ground and making a difference. And we all can do the same. It's not hard to do, but I'm just grateful to do what I'm doing now. And I was given the baton to be able to carry it on, and I'm willing to do it. Thank you for letting me speak.
Well, you've been doing a hell of a job, so I got to go ahead and real quick, Tammy, real quick. Let me give this sister her shout out because she's been since the summertime. She's been relentless with this, so and probably longer than that. But ever since I've been doing spaces and stuff, which was around about May, she's just been doing her thing. So we just got to give her a shout out. She's really just been on that trail, and we're just hoping that we can go ahead and close this out. You got a lot of people. Yeah, some Negro was saying up here. I forget what this Negro was. Maybe it was on Twitter. He said, "That's why you don't take black people." Yeah, Negro talk. That's why you don't take black people serious. This woman's almost 90 years old, and you're trying to throw her in jail. Yo, Tammy, you keep cutting me off, love. Okay, like you got this Negro sitting up here talking about this black, talking about this is why nobody takes black people serious because this woman's 90 years old and they want to throw her in jail. Like, yeah, dumbass. I guess you hadn't seen all them damn neo-Nazis that get put in jail. You had ones that was teenagers back then, back in World War II, getting their ass put in jail. So what are you talking about? Like, and I can guarantee you that this is a black person who probably not even from this country sitting up here running his damn mouth. So let me just give a shout out to you, Goddess. You've been doing your thing. You've been holding it down. We're proud of you. Just keep up the fight. I know it's got to be taking a toll on you, sister. Make sure you get you some rest and relaxation as well, too. You're going to have to go ahead and recharge your battery. So just shout out to you because you just continue to fight the good fight. We're proud of you. We love you. Keep doing your thing. The family of Emmett Till, they owe a great debt to people like you. So thank you so much for everything that you've done. I believe Judge Sarah.
One thing, Shoulder, just I do the same kind of work. I have some issues that I'm fighting for as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely to connect. Hey, get in the jumbotron, y'all. Support Sister Goddess over here on the left hand side of the jumbotron, and come over to Racebook, aka Facebook, and join her FBA Goddess community. We post a lot of information up in there as far as black issues, and you can stay up with her on her journey to bring justice to our little nephew, Emmett Till, you know what I mean? Which is our ancestor now, you know what I mean? And arrest Carolyn Bryan Dunham, yo. Arrest her, yo, you know what I mean? And gunbutter too, that's what I always say. Gunbutter. Gunbutter. Looks like they got on a gunbutter. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead, Judge. Oh, you starting to break up again. Can you hear us? Hey, Judge, can you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
can hear me?
We can hear you now. Go ahead.
I'm moving around because what I'm saying, I want the person I'm talking to hear me. So, Mr. Engaging, I'm talking to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just go ahead, Judge.
But
But you know what? So let me say this to you. First, I want to begin by saying I'm not a fan of Kevin Samuels, and I actually made a point not to say his name publicly. I just think it's important that I start my conversation with that because his name was brought up. Mr. Engaging, I've watched you for some time now, and I think that you're smart, that you're intelligent, that you're strategic, and you're determined. And what I've noticed with you is the thing about Mr. Engaging is he's a black man who wants to make a difference. And are like negatively correlated. He tries to make an effort to show America, the community, that he's a hardworking, loving black man who knows how to do the work. That's what my takeaway is from him. And what he's trying to say is giving you the opportunity to show you that I'm a man. And that's my takeaway from you, Mr. Engagement. Mr. Engage, I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I've listened to you, and it always seems like you make an effort to try to be heard, and you don't feel like you're being heard. I want to tell you this. When I was in high school, I played volleyball, and I played on a losing team. If you guys have heard me, I'm competitive, and I don't like fucking losing. Like, I don't like to lose. So when we play volleyball, we have different positions, and we have different positions. I had a tendency to run and jump in other people's space when the ball came over the net because I didn't have faith that they would hit the ball. This was when I was a teenager. I was probably like 15. And because I really wanted to win. And we were fucking a losing team. And every time the ball would come over, I would jump in front of that person and hit the ball. And my coach would get so pissed with me because I was talented. But he's like, you messing up. And I didn't understand, Mr. Engaging, that I was not giving them an opportunity to show me that they can do the job. I was actually ruining it for the team because I kept on jumping in front of them, not letting them be or try or do what they're doing. And so, and this is what I've noticed with you. But Mr. Engaging, also, I'm a girl, okay? And I'm ruled by my hormones. So I'm moody and I'm emotional. Men are masculine. They're stable. They're practical. So what I encourage you to do, when you see that happening, just tap me on the shoulder. Just tap on the shoulder. All you got to do is tap on the shoulder, get her attention, and let her recognize what's happening. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Engaging? Because I've noticed that with you for a long time, that you are a man, and you so desperately want to prove that you are a black man who's a good black man. And you want the world to know that black men are good men, work hard, and are for their community. Does that make sense? I hope you heard me, Mr. Engaging, because I was listening earlier. And I just noticed that with you. I know you're smart. I know you're driven. I know you have all the things that they're trying to say black men are not. You're all that what they are. And I see that you're just trying to show America that black men are good, hardworking, dedicated, community-oriented. But again, remember when I was a teenager, I kept on running and jumping in someone else's space. It wasn't my intention to disrespect them. I just wanted to win. Okay? I hope you guys heard me.
Yeah, we heard you, Judge.
Jump in. The black volleyball or the white volleyball? Which one did you jump in?
All righty. Let me go ahead and go to Miss Giselle next. Miss Giselle, go ahead and unmute your mic. Then we go on to Mr. Engaging. Then we got you, Professor. And then we got to get no taxation. And matter of fact, let me go to no taxation first. No taxation, since you had a chance to speak. Go ahead and speak. No taxation.
DJ, all my usual suspects, and everybody else in the room. I knew that you were doing the spaces, but I got tied up, and I didn't. So I'm glad you recorded it because I'm going to hear it from the beginning. So thank you for recording your spaces, Newstoter. I actually came up here because I wanted to speak with FBA Goddess, but I wanted to speak with her privately. So I was going to message her, and she doesn't take messages. So I'm just going to put this out there. We don't follow each other. I don't know her work, but I'm very interested in hearing more about her work. So FBA Goddess, my name is Jean. If you could follow me, and if you just want my information to call me, that is fine. I will definitely give it to you. And News, Ray, DJ, y'all keep up the great job because this is an important space. Every day, it's an important space. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, sister. We appreciate it. Let me give a shout out real quick to 400 once again. Thank you, bro. Appreciate the donation on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Miss Giselle, and I want to get to Mr. Engaging and Professor as well too. We probably won't keep the space open too much longer, y'all. Been a good space. I want y'all to know tomorrow night, Judge Joe Brown is gonna be in. Dana, I hope you I hope you can come up in here while the judge is up in here as well too. So if you have time, Dana, please come up in here. But we're gonna. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get to Miss Giselle. I know it's been a little minute, Miss Giselle. We're just trying to get some of the new speakers in here, but I want to hear you. I want to hear Mr. Engaging. I got to hear my boy Professor as well too. So Professor, you be on your good behavior for me, bro. Go ahead, Miss Giselle.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Mr. Engagement, I just wanted to make sure that it's clear. This is dialogue. It's not talking at you. I'm talking with you in the conversation. Not trying to be condescending. When I was stating things earlier, those were suggestions. It was actually our sister FBA goddess who held the space in reference to our brother Kevin Samuels. Because when he passed away, the conversation was definitely in support of like not talking down to him. She held that space, and it was a very productive space, and it was to show homage to him. That's what I was trying to tell you. Things like everyone doesn't act that way, and I think this whole monolith that like most women even think the way. Or like I guess you was saying that we act. That's not really the case. Long story short is there are a lot of facts to get to this point, and we got to recognize them so that we don't keep repeating them. Now, and starting from now, you can recognize them, but we don't have to keep reliving that same bullcrap over and over again. We want to start fresh, like what Dana was saying. We do want to start fresh, and again, I'm not telling you what to do. These are suggestions, like things in any relationship. Wife can say, "Hey, to her husband, you know what? What do you think about this, and that?" Well, these are some options that are here. That's not telling you what to do, but this is all a part of communicating. So if you don't communicate that way, I can't like stop you, or like can't control the way that you communicate. But for me, I'll throw out some suggestions, and you can, you can do whatever you want. Say, you know what, that's actually a good idea. This is something I can do. I can build on this, or you know what, those aren't really gonna work for me. I got something else in mind. But the problem with these dynamics in our relationships is people aren't listening to each other. It's like you automatically assume it's an attack when we're trying to like just talk about things to help us build. So I don't like going back and forth. I don't even go back and forth with my own spouse. So with that saying, we just leave it at that. Well, for me, I'm not even offended by like anything that you said. So nobody has to go into defense mode at all about that. I just think that we just have to find better ways to communicate. And I will land with that.
All right. Thank you, Miss Giselle. Mr. Engage, and go ahead and unmute your mic.
No, you can let Brother Professor go, and I'll sit back and wait in the cut.
Okay, Professor, you got it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Newstoter. And once again, bro, you outdid yourself, man. You was able to put together another heated space. But it's very informative, which is why I love coming into this space, because the Black family, we can come together. We might throw a little dirt there for a little bit, but at the same time, we can come together for information, what we all want. I will say this, for purposes of this moment right now, I'm just going to say we really shouldn't listen to bed wrenches that come up in here and talk about what we ought to be doing. See, that's another issue that comes up too. I don't know if Kevin Samuel ever talked about that, but that is going to have to be a topic one day, where we deal with bed wrenches that come into the spaces and talk down to the Black American family like we children. And they say things like, I see y'all just can't seem to understand. It's the 14th Amendment. You see, they can do these things to us because they can. Because they can. See, that type of shit. You know, which we already know why things are happening. But this person would come up in this space to talk down to the Black American family. That's what they do. Bed wrenches. That's it. I land my plane there.
All right, Professor. Let me go ahead and let me get a Mr.
Can I respond, please? Or not to him, but I just wanted to. I wanted to let him go ahead because I didn't want to skip him. Respectfully.
Go ahead, Mr. Engaging.
Yeah, I think that is a major concern because I see that the hypocrisy that goes on in our community. From Serena Williams, she gets celebrated. I don't co-sign interracial dating, but these brothers get crucified if they date outside the box. And I don't think that I think we need to extend more grace in our community. And again, I'm going to point back to the original statement that I had. Where's all this smoke at for Joe Biden? Where's all that smoke at for that Emmett Till's killer? Where's all that smoke at for the people who's really harming us? Kevin Samuel wasn't harming us like that. I think he was trying to shed some light on some real issues that were going on in our community. And some people just don't want to change, you know? If they don't want to change, then it is what it is. There's other people that are willing and want to see that change, and they want the community to be better. That's all.
Appreciate that, Mr. Engaging. Mr. Engaging, I know this brother, he's always passionate and stuff like that, and sometimes we have disagreements, but I truly believe that his heart is in the right place as well, too. So he's a passionate young brother, and he's always been a supporter of the platform and stuff like that as well, too. So, you know, sometimes these spaces do get heated and we kind of get into the conversation, but we try not to take things personal. So, you know, even though we're not going to agree, and like I say, the Newstoter spaces are not an echo chamber. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. As long as we respect other people's opinion, you know, everybody in here is not going to agree with each other. So let's just try to remember that when we're actually having a dialogue, that, hey, we can have a conversation. It can get heated. We can disagree or whatever, but, you know, we don't have to be at each other's throat as well, too. So let's just remember that. Let's try to keep as much decorum as possible in these spaces as well, too. Let me go ahead and get to my girl, Black Native. Black Native, you decided to come up towards the end of the space. What's going on tonight, Black Native?
What's going on, Newstoter? Peace to the room. Peace, DJ.
Black Native, you're a little bit low.
Am I? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay, good. I'm on my bootleg phone tonight, so pardon me. I was so glad that Vicki Dillard came in. She gave us a bit of her time to introduce herself, I guess, to some people who might know her and to those who do. I've been following Vicki Dillard ever since she was in the beginnings of Fly Nubian Queens, and now she has her own platform, and I've been following her on Instagram. We've even communicated. I had left the space because I don't know what was going on. I got on the topic of Kevin Samuels. I don't know the man. I've never listened to him, but I do know he rubbed a lot of Black women in the wrong way. Now, I just want to know, was he for Black love? Was he for, Black men and Black women coming together and forming a relationship and marriage? Was that what he was talking about? Because I never listened to him.
From what I understand, he was. Oh, you got that phone with the feedback.
Yeah, I might go switch to my other phone, but you're about to finish. You're about to end the live. So I just want to know, what was his message? Was it for us to build as a nation, or was he tearing Black women down? I don't know. I never listened to the man. I just heard a lot of disparaging things that other Black women were saying about the man. So that's all I had to say. I'll go ahead and land.
All right, thank you, Black Native. And we got a number of people in here. I mean, from and like I said, I listened to some of his stuff, and what it seems like he was trying to actually he was critiquing Black people in general. Like, he critiqued Black men, he critiqued Black women. Some people felt that he crossed the line with his critiques of Black women to a certain degree. I know at one time they said he was very hard on Black men as well too, but a lot of his fan base were Black men. So I guess it just depends on who you speak to. Some people think that he was spot on, that he was accurate in his assessment of the black relationship. So I guess Black Native, it just depends. I know somebody said that he was married before. I know the woman that he was found dead with. I don't believe she was a black woman, but that's not to say that if he was married before, that his first wife or whatever wasn't a black woman as well too. So, a lot of people think that he was about self-improvement, trying to get the best out of the people, and some people felt that, hey, he was just a pure content creator. So I guess it just depends on what you look at. Let me go ahead real quick and kick it to Dana, and then we'll kick it to Tammy, and those will be the last two speakers for the night.
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, good space as always. Newstoter. I say Newstoter, but it's Newstoter. Sorry.
It's Toter. It Newstoter. It's just like having a tote bag, and you just put toter,
Right.
toter, a toter.
I be renaming stuff like Newstoter. No, just real quick, Mr. Engagement. When he made the comment, because he makes good. He makes good commentary for good discussion, good dialogue. But he said that, Serena Williams, when she married a white guy, nobody didn't say nothing. And then when a black man do it, black women are up in arms. But just to put that in a little bit more context is Serena Williams dated nothing but black men. And in a documentary that her and her sister did some years ago, before she even got married, she was like, I only want to marry a black man. But none of the black men wanted to marry her. None of the black men didn't want to take her seriously. And she wanted to have a baby, and she did not want to have a baby out of wedlock. So, she got with the white guy who wanted her, or she got with someone who wanted to marry her. So you can't knock someone who all their life been dating black, but just the black people they dated didn't want to get married. The black men she dated, they want to get.
Somebody accidentally hit mute, but go ahead, Dana.
Yeah, that was my mistake. Excuse me.
As opposed to maybe, if she had, as opposed to maybe when you look at black men who marry white women, that's all they probably dated or they liked was white women. So you got to look at somebody's history, their dating history. So I just wanted to put that in a little bit of context as far as, using someone like Serena Williams as an example. But she was all about the black man. It just wasn't all about her.
I'm gonna give a little bit of pushback on that one, Dana. Hold on, real quick, Mr. Engagement. I'm gonna have to give a little bit of a pushback. Now, it's true she dated the football player LeVar Arrington, who was an All-Pro linebacker. She dated Common. That's also true, but I remember years ago, they had this post that came out where she was just dogging black men. She was saying all kind of things derogatory. Now, she came out later and said, that wasn't her, that, that it was some kind of article that years ago came out. She was talking about black men and it was really nasty. It's been so long. I can't remember exactly everything that.
Before she was married?
Yeah, it was before she was married. I mean, she was talking about black men and just, just basically how trifling they were and how they were basically almost mama boys.
Yeah, she was talking about her. That's what I'm saying. She was talking about her experience with black men. What I have heard black women like Cynthia G do. But it's like, I look at, that's all she dated was black men. That white guy she married was the only white guy she dated, and she ended up marrying him.
Or at least that's the only. Hold on, real quick. Hey, real quick. At least that's the only white guy that we know publicly she dated. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we know publicly, and maybe she wanted to keep the other ones in the dark. Maybe they wasn't worth $100 million. Who knows? But right, publicly, what we know publicly. And again, I don't use celebrities as if they're celebrities, but I just wanted to use that as an example. Sometimes you got to look at the history of people, and honestly, I don't care who you date. Just don't be knocking down black people, man or woman. So
that's the problem, though. They do. When they do that, they knock our people down. Yes, they do.
Real quick, let me let Mr. Engage in. We got Tammy. Like I said, we're gonna be closing out soon. So, Mr. Engage in, real quick. Tammy, real quick.
Okay, my thing is to you, Dana, respectfully. You can apply that to that same way that you're coming to men with that. You should apply that to the women. Honestly, I think that's really disingenuous.
I just said that.
No, to the men. I think you're being a little bit hypocritical.
I just said that. I said men and women. You have to look at their history. I was specifically talking about Serena Williams.
What I'm getting at and what I'm saying is that you're saying that we should look at the history and all this other stuff. Black women really don't do that with black men. They see that a black man's dating outside the race, they write that guy off, and that guy could be the savior of our community. He might be willing to support and help our community, and we just cut another brother off. And I think, I'm not co-signing interracial stuff. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, I am. I don't.
I say I don't. I personally don't.
So why are you so concerned? If you don't
what I'm getting at is no.
Hey, real quick, Dana, let him go ahead, and then I'll go ahead and let you respond to what he says, just so we can have just so you guys can actually have a clear point. Go ahead, Mr. Engagement, and then Dana, I'm gonna let you respond.
What I'm saying is that when it's a black man that's dating interracially or doing something that black women don't like, they blast that brother to the point to no oblivion. When it's black women that do things that's like even detrimental to the community, when a black man calls him out, he gets no support in the community. There's no black woman that support or call that woman out as a collective or a group. I don't really see that. I've seen more women encourage that negative behavior, like the Waffle House, or you got the Lance of Bottom Lady, or you got women that are out here killing our community respectfully in leadership roles. So, yeah, I hear you, but it's two different. Like playing ignorance to the damage that they do in our community, I think it's really disingenuous. And that's where I'm more or less getting at. The hypocrisy.
You should use a better example. If you're trying to highlight hypocrisy,
okay, let's let Dana go ahead real quick. Nobody come off their mic. Let Dana go ahead and respond real quick.
Well, I know he's not calling me a bad witch, but
I didn't even hear that part. Hey. Let's chill on the name calling. Let's not call anybody a bed wench because they got a difference of opinion. So let's just chill, everybody. We're not going to keep the space. I see we're not going to keep this space open too much longer because a lot of people just come on. We kind of getting to a point that I don't want to get at. So go ahead, Dana.
No, I was just saying like that because I want a piece of Mr. Engagement, so you might want to shut this room down real quick. What I'm getting at, if you so trying to call out the hypocrisy, then you need to use a better example. And when I said your name, I wasn't saying your name to come at you. I was just using what you said as an example of the broader picture when people are interracially dating. And that's why a lot of times I don't like to even use celebrities as an example. But I use Serena. She's always dated black men. None of them didn't want to put a ring on it. The white man put a ring on it. And it's like, I heard black women and men have a problem with it, but it is what it is. I mean, if you have an issue with what women, particularly black women, are doing that you dislike, and that's fine. Because it is a lot not a lot, but there are things that you can't highlight about that. And I'm not going to sit up here and do tip for that. Well, men do it too. I don't do that. I don't play those games. I'm a grown person. I don't do you do it too. And that's what it sounds like. As an adult, if you see something you don't like, either you try to change it, and if you can't because you can't control other people, then you change your surroundings. You work to improve where you live at, your immediate family. That's it. Be on your purpose. Why are you worried about what a woman is doing? And that's what I don't like when I see from men. I don't like seeing men worried about what women are doing. Because honestly, when it comes to, let's just say black women, they ain't worried about what men are doing because they're trying to build something of their own. Now, do I see a lot of missteps with that? Yeah. But when you look at the black community as a whole, it's a lot of dysfunction. But again, as a grown man, you should not be worried about what a woman is doing.
Oh, but we should.
We should.
Okay. Alrighty. I think we're gonna go ahead and shut this space down for the night. Because I'm not gonna play referee up here no more. Straight up, I will see y'all tomorrow night in the space with Judge Joe Brown. So everybody have a good night. We'll see y'all then. Good night.